back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Tuesday, January the 19th, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete. How are you tonight, Peter? You're muted for some reason. Nope. Can't hear you. Try again.
My name's Pete, and this is Harry.
There you go. Okay, there you go.
Hey, everybody.
Your mic was muted. And that's Harry. You got Harry with you.
Yes.
Oh. How are you, Harry?
Nikola Jokic is great.
How's Denver tonight, Harry? How you doing?
He should be the MVP.
Joker?
Shut up. Yes, Joker.
Joker should be.
What he's doing with 59% of the team on the bench or injured is.
I think the bench is injured.
Yes. Well, it's everyone's got splinters.
Well, who was the MVP last year of the league?
Well, it was Chris Paul, I think. Which was total bullshit.
Total bullshit. There you go. All right. So, how are you, Pete? How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. It's Wednesday again, and we're back on the podcast.
We're back on Wednesday. Yeah, last week was a little bit of a difference, just scheduling conflict.
Yeah, listen, we had like a short week, right?
We had a short week. We had
a Friday game, and now we have a short week. We're back on Wednesday.
There you go.
Which actually I kind of liked. Kind of liked having it on Friday.
It was interesting. We could do it on Friday once in a while.
Well, especially because we had the football coming right up the next day, over the next 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then
which is one of the reasons when we started the podcast originally a year and a half ago, we did it on Wednesday was the choice because, we had Thursday games, right? Thursday football games. So now there's no more Thursday football games until September. So,
Yeah, which I hate. Right. The fact that the season starts on a Thursday and there's whatever. The NFL does what it wants.
Of course.
Yeah.
Harry will be along, in a little while.
I've got a meeting. He's got very, very important.
He's got an important meeting. Yeah,
governmental executives,
city planning, something like that.
Yeah.
He's got to plan Denver.
We're planning a Peyton Manning monument, and
I like Peyton Mannion. I like that Peyton
Mannion too, but nobody outside of Denver knows who he is.
Right. Well, I've heard of him.
That's terrible. I should have practiced my.
You should have practiced a little bit better. Yeah.
I keep thinking of his picture with the mask.
Yeah, right.
And that's how he should speak.
That's how he should speak with the mask. He should have a different voice with the mask. But one of these days, we're doing a year and a half now. We should probably get a regular picture of his face up there. It's not like he's incognito, right? Anybody tunes in to the show, they see what he looks like.
Yeah, that's true.
But
then what do you do for the promotional material?
That's true.
Do we go with mask? Do we go with Bandito Harry?
Maybe we should all get our own personalized masks.
Oh. And then we'll start a band.
And we'll do the masked marauders, the masked manions.
The masked manions.
The masked manions.
Peyton and the masked manions.
I like
now
it.
appearing.
Perfect. Now appearing this week.
Listen, from some of the stuff I've seen, you can pretty much get up and play anything if you're out in Denver.
Yeah,
they like those weird bands out there.
They do. And and the music's good too, right? It definitely is good for sports show openings. I'll tell you that.
Yes. Certainly, yes.
And beer show openings.
Blog
too.
holds a special place in our heart.
Absolutely.
There's a few other things I've seen that I'm not that fond of, but
there's a few other things that I've seen that I'm not fond of, and it doesn't have anything to do with Denver music. But
that's what I was talking about.
No, I got you.
Get your head out of the gutter. That's where I go. That's where I belong. Sorry, I'll clean off my keyboard.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there's been some clips of some of those Denver bands, and I just kind of went, nope.
No.
But I think it was only one or two. Most of them, I kind of went, yeah, okay, I would
just
go.
A couple.
Yeah. I would go see them. Definitely. But you never know. You're watching 45 seconds of one song.
Right. Right.
And you don't want to judge the whole band on that one song, but that's the only thing that I have to judge.
That's the only thing you go on, yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, there are. I mean, depending on the band, I mean, most of them actually do have Facebook pages where they have their full length videos for the song for those whole songs up on it. So
like I have time to go and look that up. You know me, I don't make informed decisions. Come on, man.
Cuff. Yeah. Peter off the cuff.
I go from the gut.
From the gut. There you go. So
anyway, do we want to talk baseball before he comes on?
We should. I just want to mention one thing. Whenever I speak to any of my Spanish speaking friends, I always try to use the word mucho.
Right.
It means a lot to them. Sorry. It's my one dad joke for the day. Had to say. Just heard it about an hour ago, so I had to use it. So.
Oh, okay. That's not. That's pretty good.
All right, sorry, buddy. Anyway, we can start off with. Now that I crashed the whole show, we can start off with some.
How do you know when a dad joke becomes a dad joke?
When? What's that?
Or how do you know when a joke becomes a dad
joke? What's that?
When it's apparent.
All right, even better than mine. There you go.
There we go.
So, all right,
there we go.
All right. So a priest, an atheist, and a rabbit. A priest, an atheist, and a rabbit walk into a bar, and the rabbit says, "Hey guys, I'm pretty sure I'm a typo."
Yeah, I've seen that one. I like that one. But see, that's actually good,
right?
Because there's a little bit of
you got to think about it a little
brain
bit,
power, and you have to have the knowledge of the sort of the structure of that joke and all that.
Exactly. So, anyway, all right. So baseball.
Nothing's really going on, right?
Not so much.
Here's what I wanted to say, though.
Talk about it, because I got a few things, but go for it.
All right. My biggest, do you have like news type stories?
Yeah, well, ish.
All right, let's do those. Let's do those first, because mine is a little more.
Yours is more like an editorial.
It's like an existential thing.
Okay, all right, so that works too. Carlos Correa, he changed agents. I don't know if you saw that.
What?
He changed agents.
Who's the new agent?
I'll give you 3 guesses.
The guy that's everybody's agent.
Scott Boras, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he's not coming to the Yankees.
Probably not, unless they're paying $1 billion.
You know what I heard today? Somebody called up the K Show, and they said something about the Yankees wouldn't sign Correa, or did they were asking, did they think the Yankees might not sign Correa? I don't know what he said about Derek Jeter. Something.
Something about...
It doesn't matter. It was something derogatory. I don't think it was hellaciously inflammatory.
No, it wasn't. It was just something like I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what it was. I read the quote, but it was something along the lines of he's the weakest shortstop to make the Hall of Fame or something to that effect.
Okay, so, all right. So whatever it was not complimentary.
Right.
So this caller says that maybe the Yankees won't sign Correa unless he apologizes for what he said about Derek Jeter.
Oh yeah. That'll work.
Which was the guys on the show went. It was Kay really. He went ballistic. He goes, "Are you kidding me? Are you telling me that what's his name? The GM's name?
Brian Cashman.
Brian Cashman. Thank you. Brian Cashman's going to slide a contract across the table. Here you go, Carlos. 10 years, $350 million. All you got to do is apologize for what you said about Derek Jeter.
And not even the Jeter, just to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Apologize to the Yankees about what you said about the Marlins owner. And I just thought that was, it was the absolute right correct reaction for such a ridiculous question.
Hysterical.
All right, so he's probably not going to end up on the Yankees because Boras is. The Yankees aren't the Yankees of old, right?
No,
they're still Steinbrenner. The name on the door, but
the name's still on the door, but it's not
the first name.
It's not your father's. It's not your father's Steinbrenner.
Yeah, it's not right. It's not either of those guys' fathers, Steinbrenner, for that matter. So they don't go out and. So I don't think he's coming to the Yankees, which I don't know. It's probably fine.
Yeah,
they don't need him, right? They need pitching.
They need pitching. They do.
Yeah. But he's not a pitcher, is he?
I don't know. Well, maybe.
I think so.
Has he ever tried? Well, look at it this way. The Mets actually had a shortstop in their minor league organization that wound up being a pretty good pitcher. What was his name? Damn it. Oh, Jacob deGrom. That's right.
Yeah, well, that was
a short. He got signed to his minor league deal. He got drafted as a shortstop from Stetson, or I still wants a Stetson, right?
Sure.
And whatchamacallit, and then he's now the best pitcher in baseball. So,
right. Well, what does that tell you about the Mets?
Right.
At every level, they're screwing up.
Right.
I mean, yes, they got it right after
a good
the
screw
fact.
up, that one.
Yeah, they got it right after the fact,
Right.
but still.
No, see, typical Mets would have been they signed him as a pitcher and then put him to shortstop. That would have been.
That would have been
with your typical old Mets. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. Hopefully, knock on wood, that they're moving in the right direction, right? So.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Remains to be seen. Signs point to yes, but ironically, on that note that we're talking, that the DraftKings put their odds out for winning the World Series. I don't know if you saw it. Did you?
No.
Yep. The Mets have the fourth best odds to win the World Series this year.
Okay, that's
okay.
Why that's not true.
According to DraftKings, if you place a bet right now, you're
okay.
According to DraftKings.
So the company that wins when you lose your money says the Mets
have the fourth
best shot. I don't think I should. I don't think you should believe them, folks.
Well, let's look at it really quick. Let's look at a couple of names, a couple of the teams on the list.
Well, who's number one?
I'll give you. You tell me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Dodgers.
Very good. They're at plus 650.
Okay.
So that would be 6.5 to 1.
All right.
6.5 to 1, or however it manages out, or 13 to 2. Whatever you want to do. For
I don't even know what that means.
Plus
what does that mean? Out of 15
well, you got to bet
Series, they win 13 of them? Is that what that means?
Yeah, well, plus 650 is, well, you can't have a half on a fraction, right? So plus 650 means you bet $100, you win $650.
Well, a half is a fraction.
Well, but you can't have a half in a fraction. It can't be 6.5 over 1, kind of thing. But if you want to look at it, a ratio, you can be.
Okay.
You can be.
But what does the ratio actually mean?
The ratio means what you're winning. That's the odds. The odds. So 6.5 to 1. The best. In other words, the best odds for winning the World Series this year is 6.5 to 1. So you bet $100, you win $650. You bet $1, you win $650.
Okay.
Got
it.
Bet $1, you win $6.50.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought you had to bet $6.50
No, it's if it's minus.
Win one.
If it's minus $650.
Oh, okay.
If they're minus $650, you've got to bet $650 to win $100, or bet $6.50 to win $1, kind of thing.
Are you sure?
Only if it's minus. Yeah, plus is you'll win.
Okay.
Yeah, plus 650, you bet 100, you're winning 650. So, but 6.5. We'll stay away from them. It's 6.5 to 1.
Okay.
So the Dodgers odds are 6.5 to win, 1 to win the World Series.
6.5 to 1. Shut up, Peter.
Yeah, exactly. 6.5 to 1 to win the World Series.
I don't have time to explain betting 101 to you.
We'll have that class. We'll do it.
We do have time, but
betting. We actually do have time. So let's want to talk about it if you want.
Nope.
But
if I understand it, then I might actually do it.
There you go. Who's number 2?
Houston.
Houston's number 3.
Tampa Bay.
Nope. Houston's number 3.
Atlanta.
And we'll get Harry on. We'll get Harry on this. Harry, welcome to the show, Harry. There you go.
Thank you. You guys done yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, just about. We're ready to wrap it up.
You just need to. We did most of the picks already. You just need to pick Buffalo, Kansas City, and then we're good. Then we can wrap it up.
I'm kidding. We're actually talking baseball really quick.
You didn't do the top 10 Atlanta Braves of all time?
We're going to do the top 10 Atlanta Braves that were Falcons and Falcons that were Braves. There's one on the list.
Yeah, he's an asshole too.
Anyway,
you're talking about a friend of mine, buddy.
Yeah,
he's no friend of yours.
He's talking about my jersey. So
no, he is a friend. I'm no friend of his.
There you go. That's the way it works.
But he's a very good friend of mine. All right, so who's number 2?
All right, so
the Yankees?
I'll just tell Harry really quick. The DraftKings came out with their list of odds for winning the World Series. The Mets have the 4th best odds of winning the World Series this year, according to DraftKings. Number 1 is the Dodgers. They're 6.5 to 1 odds. The Astros are in third, 9.5 to 1. The Mets are 10 to 1 odds to win the World Series at 4. Who's number 2?
Braves?
Nope. Mets have a better shot, according to DraftKings, of winning the World Series than the Braves, the current world champions.
Okay. Well, until they get a new team.
Giants?
No, not the Giants.
Well, hopefully not the Yankees.
It is the Yankees. According to DraftKings, the Yankees have a 9-1 chance of winning the World Series.
DraftKings are a bunch of 12-year-olds, so not sure.
Well, I said they shouldn't be believed because if we lose our money, that's good for them.
For them, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think unless DraftKings knows something that I don't, the Yankees don't have a number 2, 3, 4, or 5 pitcher
and a suspect bullpen.
Yeah, an very overpriced suspect bullpen.
But other than that, they're the second favorites to win the World Series. So.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what they were last year. I mean, look, I even question the Dodgers because I don't think we really know with any of these teams what their final lineup. I think the Dodgers have the potential of obviously being the favorite again.
Sure.
But they did re-sign a few players that obviously helps them. But
and they let a few go too. So
they let a bunch go.
Yep.
And they're not on paper. They're going into last year.
Right.
They certainly were set up to have one of the best starting pitching rotations in the history of baseball. And, for many different reasons, injuries and behavioral items kept them from ever seeing what that was going to be. And then, of course, now, the Dodgers made some great, other than the Braves, I think the Dodgers made some of the best midseason acquisitions at the trade deadline.
Sure. Yeah.
But then they lost the biggest acquisition who helped them quite a bit. So it's I find that list. I think the Astros and Mets are probably in the right position. I think it's kind of a toss-up, though. I mean, where's the Rays? I think the Tampa Bay Rays.
The Rays are an 8th. We'll go down really quick.
They did lose some pitching, but I think there's so much young talent on that Rays team.
According
that they're going to be a lot better this year than they were last year, and they were very good last year.
They were very good last year. I'll give you. I'll run it down really quick. Dodgers 1 at 6.5 to 1. Yankees 2 at 9 to 1. Astros 3 at 9.5 to 1. Mets in 4th at 10 to 1. Blue Jays 5th.
Okay.
12 to 1.
Ahead of the Rays.
White Sox all tied with the Blue Jays at 12 to 1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whatchamacallit? The Padres in 7th, 14 to 1. Rays in 8th, 15 to 1, along with the Brewers at 15 to 1, and the Braves at 15 to 1 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be 10th. So in 11th, you got the Red Sox at 20 to 1. Then the Cardinals and the Giants.
What did the Giants do?
And what did the Red Sox do to piss off
DraftKings?
Yeah, what did the Giants do to go from winning the most
having the best record
in the league last year
to being in 12 to win the World Series? Yeah, 22 to 1. Yeah. But then the Giants, the Angels, Mariners, Phillies, Tigers,
and the other teams that have no chance.
A's, Twins, Marlins. I'm going in order. Reds, Guardians.
Maybe the A's should be a little bit higher.
The Indians, folks, the Guardians.
Yeah, I mean they were in contention most of the year.
Yeah.
Rangers, Royals, Nationals are 25th.
That's where to put your money. What's the odds on that?
100 to 1.
So you bet $1, you win $100.
It's not that great, but yeah.
It's worth $1.
Exactly. If you bet $100, you win $10,000.
Listen, skip coffee for a couple of days and throw down a 10 spot.
There you go. Cubs are 26th, Rockies 27th, tied with Baltimore 27th or 28th, 15 to 1 or 150 to 1.
Where are the Rangers? Where are the Cubs? These teams that made big moves already prior to the lockout.
Cubs are up a little bit. Cubs are 26th also at 100 to 1. The Rangers are 23rd, 90 to 1. Diamondbacks are 29th, 200 to 1, and the Pirates are in last, 30th place, 250 to 1 to win the World Series.
I don't know if the top of this list or the bottom quarter of this list is more disparaging as far as DraftKings credibility.
I think the only one they have right is maybe the Astros. I put them as 2 or 3. Look, I just think Tampa Bay, Chicago need to be in the top 5 or 6.
Right.
I think Milwaukee's got to be in the top 6 or 7.
Milwaukee is.
You know, they were hurt last year and still,
Milwaukee's ninth, 15-1.
You know, I think the Blue Jays. I mean, I think the Blue Jays, the Dodgers. You know, the Braves have to be in the top 10.
Well, they are in the top 10. They're 10th.
And I think that you know, look, I understand I think a lot of people were looking at the Red Sox and saying, okay, they bounced back from a bad year the year previously or 2 years previously. Right. But they have a great lineup, and I think they're probably going to wind up making some moves. I mean, if I had to say who's in a better position to win this year, the Red Sox or the Yankees, I have to give an edge to the Red Sox.
And to win the East, yeah. I mean, but the East is going to be hard. I mean, other than the Orioles, obviously.
There's four teams in the top. There should be 4 teams in the top 10 in the American League East.
Yeah. But whatchamacallit, this article goes on to say that one of the reasons that the Braves, even though the reigning world champs are in 10th at 15-1, is because there's uncertainty around Freddie Freeman. He's not signed yet, right? So that's one of the reasons they're giving. So
yeah, they're going to get Acuna back too,
and it's jury's on Acuna whether his injury is going to be, he's going to be completely recovered from it or what the deal is there. But I mean, obviously, they won it without him, most of the season too. So
yeah, and I think the Cardinals, you got to look at them, Yeah, and look, that's great. I mean, they're throwing it out there to get people to sign up for
the draft. I mean, it is what it is. It's not, it's DraftKings. It's not like Major League Baseball and the sports writers and everybody and at that point came out with this list of knowledge based or whatever. I mean, it's Vegas, right? It's to a point, So I mean, they got a little bit of knowledge going on in there, but whatever. Well, this is obviously fluid too. This is going to change, here and there. So
I think whatever happens with baseball, we're going to start to see. I think baseball is going to turn into all of the other sports where I'm not even going to be able to remember who's on which team anymore, because I just think you're going to start to see major moves. The players are going to have way more outs and the ability to get out of contracts, and the teams are going to cave into sort of moving them a lot quicker. So you're just going to see a lot of fluid movement. I think what the Braves did is going to become a template for a lot of teams.
Sure.
If you dump a lot of money in at the trade deadline, create a new team, and then take a couple years off if you have to bail out on any of those short-term contracts or not re-sign people.
There you go.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I would love to see a team like the A's do that, who perennially have enough of a lineup to be contenders. If they just invested a little bit of money in 1 or 2, arms and bats at the end of the year, they could win, 2 or 3 World Series in the next 10 years.
Right. I hear you. Moving on, specifically speaking of Yankees, one other thing in baseball I just want to bring up before Pete has an existential baseball question.
Existential. Wow, this is the first Pete's existential crisis.
There you go. Greg Maddux said in an interview the other day, I don't know if you heard it or whatever, he was actually, before he signed with the Braves, he was actually close to signing with the Yankees. Went up to New York, actually met with them, met with Stick Michael and everything else, and they never made him an offer. So, I mean, it doesn't matter, obviously. The Yankees did perfectly fine in the 90s, I think, without Greg Maddux, but Greg Maddux went on to have a good career as well. So, but
Greg Maddux might have had another World Series ring to his resume.
This is true.
The story he told on somebody's podcast, I forget whose it was. He said that he met with the Yankees, and then someone in the Yankees organization had a heart attack. Like someone in the upper management had a heart attack, and so they didn't sign him. That
took priority over remembering.
Yeah. Now this is they were talking about this on the K show the other day too, right. And Michael was and still is the radio voice of the Yankees, and was at the time, and he went through all the top names and trying to figure out who, because it seemed like he was basically calling bullshit on the story. So he, as Maddox said, they didn't make him an offer, and then he flew back to Vegas, and I guess he before he got on the plane, he said to his agent, see what's going on out there. By the time he got back home, they said that the Braves had made an offer. The Cubs had made an offer, whoever it was, wherever he went. Mm-hmm. I guess it was the Cubs.
That's true. Yeah, I went with the Cubs first. And
right.
Went there.
And so that's how it came about. But Kay went back through all of the, nobody had a heart attack or anything. And then the other point he made was, and then like the next day they signed Jimmy Key.
Right.
So whatever medical emergency happened, it really only put the kibosh on signing people for one day, if that was the actual case. So he was basically calling Maddox out for, for the reason why they didn't sign him was BS, because nobody had a heart attack that he didn't find out.
If Greg Maddox is listening, it's not too late for us to sign you now.
Yeah.
You know what? You might actually do better than some of these people they have in the staff right now.
I would have much more faith in you coming into the game in the 8th inning than I would certain overpriced closers.
You might have more faith in him actually coming in, starting the game.
Not too late to join the Yankees, Greg.
No.
Never too late, Greggy. Come on.
Let's do it. Get that arm loosened up. You only have to pitch 4 innings now to be an all-star.
That's it.
3.5
on a couple of days.
That's right.
On a couple of times, yeah.
That's right.
You'll be good to go. So anyway, all right. Your existential thought, Mr. Pete?
All right. So the World Series ended, right? We had about a month of free agency or whatever long it was. Mm-hmm. And some big deals got made. And then December 1st, boink, lockout.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's now more than a month and a half later.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, at what point, if we're not already there, do we begin to say, I think they're not going to get a deal done before the regular season starts? Because we're a month away from pitchers and catchers, right?
And now we're less than a month.
Less than a month.
Less than a month away from pitchers and catchers, yeah. So
right.
Less than a month from the typical standard pitchers and catchers.
Right. Normal
date, right.
Timing of things.
Sure.
So are we ready to say, I don't think they're going to get it done? Because it doesn't seem like there's been any movement.
They met last week on Thursday.
Yeah.
That was it. One day.
There's a story on Major League MLB.com dated the 13th. Yeah. And that's under the latest news.
That's last Thursday. Yeah,
that's Major League Baseball's latest news story from Mark Feinsand. And that's 6 days ago. So it doesn't seem like much is happening. Certainly nothing that they want to report about. Haven't read anything in any of the news sources about anybody agreeing to anything. Right. So anybody want to say, I don't think they're going to start on time? I don't think, or do we want to wait another, what is it? How many days in this month? 30?
31.
31. So do we want to wait another 12 days?
They definitely won't start on time. And I think that's what the players want.
Yeah, I don't, let's put it this way. I don't think that they're going to delay the season. All right. I think that they'll get the whole 162 games in, even if they start a few days late because of certain things, or it might not even happen that way. I think spring training is going to be a little shortened. And if anything, there'll be 1 week less of pitchers and catchers and 1 week less or something like that. But once they get to where they should be, and, and I think it's going to be more, it's my thought anyway, I think it's going to be more on the side of Major League Baseball than on the Players Association. I think they're going to say, okay, well, we gotta concede to a couple of things that they want and try and bring this around, because they're standing their ground, and we don't want to lose the TV revenue, because that's what it's about, right? I mean, they extended the damn playoffs for the TV revenue. If the lockout happens and they don't have the start of the season, well, then they just kick themselves in the ass for not having the TV revenue. So I think once we get to the point of pitchers and catchers, and maybe we're a few days into that, they're going to say, okay, well, let's try and get this thing done. And within a week and a half, then they'll get it done. So they're 2 weeks late, so they'll delay. So, they'll have...
The opening day is middle of April?
No, it still may be the beginning of April. I think you'll have a little bit shorter spring training, a little bit shorter pitchers and catchers.
I think you're going to have a significantly shorter spring training, and I think that's what's going to push this to an agreement. Out of all of the major sports, we've seen a trend for shorter and shorter preseasons, with the exception of baseball. Preseason baseball, people visiting these warm places, and this is big money. This is big money, much bigger than a preseason, football game or a preseason basketball game. Mm-hmm. This is big money. And
it's tourism too. I mean,
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's not a preseason football game. You got your tickets, you live there, you go. That was it.
Right. cities in Florida and Arizona are I'm sure their representatives and chambers of commerce have been hammering the phones of the baseball executives, especially the teams that there's major tax incentives. These cities go out of their way to roll out the red carpet for these teams. And if they screw them in this capacity, you could start to see some cities say, hey, look, maybe this isn't the best deal for us anymore. Mm-hmm. And, so I don't think they're going to screw. I think that
everybody has to go to Texas for spring training.
Everybody goes to Texas.
Texas might not give them what they're already getting from some of these other cities, and it might not be the draw for let's face it, mostly retirees to go down and watch guys they'll never see it play a game.
Right, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean it's a vacation. It's something to do for people who have that luxury of time and want to go to these places. At a time of year where it's seasonally, in their best interest. So, I think that's something that jumps out at me as far as I think it'll get done. It's quiet, but it doesn't necessarily mean nothing's happening.
Right.
All right, so let's see. What is the slated opening day? 2022.
Usually
April, first week of April.
April 1st, April 2nd, March 31st.
I know. All right, here's the 2022 schedule. The 2022 season will get underway on March 31st of next year.
Next year?
Well, this year now. Now it's this year.
The 2022 season will get underway next year.
They got plenty of time.
That's a big delay.
I forget my existential crisis.
15 months.
Yeah, so let's all pick a day what we think will be the opening day.
April 8th.
April 8th, okay. Harry?
Sure. I don't know. I don't really care. April.
I'm not doing this because you care.
April. Let me look at it. Because there's usually like one or two teams that play the first day, and then there's usually that big opening day. So I think that it'll be, they want to tie it in with a. I say April.
I'll take it back and I'll say
6th or 7th.
I was going to say 7th because they always going to start on the Thursday. Yeah. So I'll change my 8th to 7 because it's that week.
Yeah, I think it'll be the 7th and the 7th or the 14th.
Okay. I think it's going to be. Is it always on a Thursday?
Wednesday or Thursday.
Starts on a Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Yeah.
Because then it's typically a 3 or 4 game.
Oh yeah, okay.
Sometimes they skip a day, but yeah.
So you guys are picking the 7th.
I'm going with the 7th. Yeah.
I'll say it's going to be the 28th of April.
Really?
I think it's going to be almost.
That's a good day.
Yeah,
that's a great day.
That's right after the Nassau Suffolk Performing Arts concert dress rehearsal for their spring concert. So there we go. All right,
28th of April is almost as good as March 17th.
So, Pete, if you're not catching the hint, it's somebody's birthday on April 28th.
Okay, well, that piece of shit's going to get a happy birthday present of Major League Baseball opening.
There you go.
So happy birthday.
All right.
We'll get him a jersey of a team he doesn't have a jersey for, which I'm not sure that exists. But
oh no, there's one.
Just one?
How about Mudhens?
Well, there's plenty of minor league baseball teams, but I was talking football-wise. There's only one.
Really?
And let's put it this way: we're gonna probably be talking about them to an extent at some point tonight. So
this is on principle that you don't have one of their jerseys?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Dallas is out. So
well, won't we be talking about Dallas?
Well, that's true.
Tonight?
So all right. So it might be the Cowboys.
It's Cowboys. Anyway.
Oh, all right.
I've never worn a Dallas jersey.
All right.
I don't have one. So
hey, listen. Neither have I.
There you go. Neither has Harry.
All right. So Jimmy, write that down. 7th, and the 28th.
7, and 20. 7, 28. There you go. All right, cool. All right, we'll see what happens. All right.
Now we don't have to talk about baseball until
Jimmy just told me that I need to write it down for him. So there you go. I just wrote it down there. All right. Cool. All right. That's baseball for the night. Let's move on to some football. Let's get this going. We'll start out with the quiz.
Quiz.
As always. We're on linebackers. We're moving on. Last week we did 1960 to 1980. Tonight we're doing 1980 to 2000.
What would be 81 to 2000?
Okay. The 80s and the 90s. Let's put it that way. I should say
80s and 90s.
80s and 90s. There you go. So I'm going to give you 6. You get to keep 4, get rid of 2, as it usually goes. So write these down. Here we go. Write these down.
I'm gonna get some.
Right. He's got to get some papel.
Shoot.
Go ahead.
There we go. Okay. We're going to start at what a name not known by many people, Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor.
Gee, definitely on the bubble.
Jack Lambert. Mike Singletary.
Samurai.
Carl Mecklenburg. Derek Thomas. And Junior, Mr. Seau. So Lawrence Taylor, Jack Lambert, Mike Singletary, Carl Mecklenburg, Derek Thomas, and Junior Seau. Pete, you want to...
All right, well, LT and DT are on.
Okay.
Lambert's on.
Lambert's on.
And you know what? I take that back.
Yeah, how many years in the 80s and 90s did Lambert play?
Well, 80s. Yeah.
He ended his 84 was his last season.
Well, he was a high. He had his highest rankings in.
I don't want to hear any. I don't want to hear any information. You may influence my decisions here. I don't want this based on any science. All right, LTDT. I'll take Samurai Mike and Junior.
All right.
So Jackie the Lamb and sorry, Carl, I love you, but you're off.
All right, Harry.
I mean, I think the obvious ones, yeah, Derek Thomas, Lawrence Taylor. You know, I think you got to put Junior Seau on there.
Okay.
And I think Mecklenburg gets dropped, but I'm going to go with Jack Lambert over Mike Singletary.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
It's because
I'm gonna go with Singletary only because I think Singletary had more of an impact in the 80s and 90s than Lambert than Lambert did. Lambert was, to me, he sort of breached, I think, a little. Singletary was like first team All Pro in the middle 80s and into the early 90s, and so he covered more of those 2 decades. So I'm going to go Singletary, LT, Seau, and Derek Thomas.
All right.
And leave off 2 great linebackers.
Sure. Well, we did last week too, right? So
yeah.
Lambert and Mecklenburg are the drops. And hey, this is the first time, I think, since we've been doing these quizzes that the 2 of you agreed on all 4.
Well,
we didn't. I thought last week we might have agreed on all 4.
He didn't have anybody that he irrationally didn't like.
No, because...
Well, that was my bubble for LT.
No, last
He's
week
a systems linebacker.
I can actually pull it up. Last week we did. Hold on.
He wouldn't have been so great if it wasn't for the other linebacker.
I mean, look, Pepper Johnson really just made LT's career.
I almost put Harry Carson on the list instead of Mecklenburg.
I still probably would have had to go with the picks that I had. I mean, Singletary and Carson were both great. Singletary was just,
last week you both had Randy Gradishar, you both had Ted Hendricks, you both had Jack Ham. Harry, you had Dick Butkus, and Pete, you had Chuck Howley.
I cut Butkus.
You cut Butkus for Chuck Howley. Yeah.
It's the title in my next book.
Yeah,
I cut Butkus.
There's a first team all time team of players that Pete has cut.
If you assemble the team of guys that didn't make my list, they would destroy just about anyone else.
Yes.
It would be like a 3-3 tie if they played a teammate of the guys that I kept.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You kept a couple good ones.
No, you kept a few. Yeah.
I think you're about ready to get rid of Joe Montana.
He almost did. He almost did. Oh, that's funny. All right. All right. So there you go. So Lawrence Taylor, Mike Singletary, Derek Thomas, and Junior Seau make both of your lists. There we go.
And Seau, what was Seau's last season? Was it? Didn't he make it into the 2000s? Didn't he?
Yeah. No, he played with the Patriots in the 2000s.
Yeah.
He was on. He was in New England. So all right. Let's move on to some of the football action we had last week. All right. First thing, let's address once again the 400-pound elephant in the room. Let's talk about the Dallas game. All right.
It was lovely.
First thing I'm going to say is this. Before we actually get into it, I just want to I want to say this.
Here comes something about the refs.
No. Oh. What, you think I'm going to be mad at the refs?
I don't know.
Listen, the refs didn't screw the Giants on a single call last week.
Not one call against the
not
Giants last
one.
week. This is true. Yeah, absolutely true.
In John's book, they did, probably somewhere on a bowling alley or in
Right.
in putt-putt golf.
So
Well, there was probably a former Giants player on
it was.
one of the playoff teams that got screwed.
Anyway, in the last 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in the last 25 years, I'm just going to tell you this. Jake Delhomme, all right, has 5 playoff wins, and he retired in 2011. Trent Dilfer has 5 playoff wins, and he retired in 2007. Brad Johnson has 4 playoff wins, and he retired in 2008.
And he never even played in the NFL. It's an honorary captain.
It gets better. Mark Sanchez has 4 playoff wins,
That's incredible.
and he hasn't played since 2018.
Now, how many of those games did he play in?
All of them.
Okay.
Well, yeah, one could say that New York Jets defense has 4 playoff wins, and
Well-
Mark Sanchez went along for the ride, but he was the quarterback.
He was a
of those
quarterback, so right.
2 teams that almost got to the
Right.
Super Bowl.
Colin Kaepernick has 4 playoff wins,
Well, sure.
and he hasn't played since 2016. In the last 25 years, Dallas as a team has 3 playoff wins.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing more wonderful than watching that game. I made it a point to go out and watch it and scream at the television. And Dallas lost that game. They San Francisco tried as hard as they could to give Dallas every opportunity. I mean, it shouldn't even have been that close, but Dallas was undisciplined and just looked unprepared to play in that game.
Yeah, that's a game that came down to who made the last mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there were plenty of those. You just said it was like, here, you take it, you take it.
I know you can win. No, you guys can win. No, you guys can win. Yeah.
I mean, have you ever seen 2 pretty good teams play each other with 2 really poor quarterbacking performances? I mean, they were both horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
And
usually, and I'll say this, not that I'm a big Jimmy G fan,
mm-hmm.
and the basic statement is true for every team. They're better with their starting quarterback,
of course,
than without him.
Right.
But if you quantify that even further, I feel like San Francisco has one of the greatest disparities.
Absolutely.
When Jimmy G is playing and when he's not. They are just a different team.
He's got a great record
mm-hmm.
when he's in there. However, he is not a good quarterback. And so it's
hard to argue with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
whatever he brings is
San Francisco is a team that for 3 quarters can do exactly what they need to do.
Yep.
Number one, they're never going to come from behind to beat anybody. But they always seem to execute really great out of the gate. They have a good game plan. They have a great defense, and they're able to run the ball. Their offensive line is fantastic.
The defensive line isn't too bad either.
Yeah, they're great up front. They're great at stopping the run, and they're great at running the ball. And they have enough playmakers to be able to move the ball consistently. But something happens in some of these bigger games where they just cannot do that. And so there was so many back and forths there and bad decisions by both teams, just bad calls and kicking field goals and not running a quarterback sneak at the end of the game.
Yeah, not being able to close it out and ended up and having to punt.
Yeah,
and
not getting out of bounds when you should get out of bounds, or getting out of bounds when you shouldn't get out of bounds, stopping the clock. And it just seemed like that fourth quarter, the second half of that fourth quarter, felt like it was an hour and a half long.
Right.
Yeah. Well, here's what I said to John, because we were talking about the picks, and obviously I picked Dallas because they're, I'm a fan of their.
Most people did.
But I got to tell you, I would really, if I wasn't up by a game or so, I might have picked San Francisco, because I really kind of felt like this could it's probably going to end up going the way
was I the only one who picked San Francisco?
No, I picked San Francisco.
I know John picked it too. Me and the coin once again losing.
So were we both 6-0?
No, I picked the Cardinals. You picked the Rams.
Yeah, you went 6-0, buddy.
You went 6-0. Pete and I are 5 and went
5-1. The coin back and 4 went 2-4. But so I just kind of went, this is probably not going to turn out right, and of course it didn't. But here's the thing, right? What's the popular definition of insanity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting
different results.
I don't think that's really the textbook defenation of insanity. I don't know.
But
if you looked it up, I doubt
supposedly Einstein said that.
No, okay, so there we go. It's certainly as good as any other definition of insanity here.
It's a colloquialism.
My question, but you look at like the odds of probability, which kind of had something to do with the reason I picked Dallas. They have to win one eventually, right? I mean, you can't just keep sucking all the time in the playoffs, and especially after pretty damn good regular seasons.
I think Dallas has a hard time with teams that are really physical, which is odd, because Dallas forever has been built about having the biggest, fastest, strongest offensive line that is just going to always put their offense in a position, and same thing pretty much defensively. But they seem to just kind of wilt a little bit. They're a schizophrenic team. They are good. They're not only good one week, they're great one week. Yeah. And then they look anemic the next.
Well, when everything works, they look great.
Well, they got
when it doesn't. McCarthy doesn't seem capable of figuring out, what are you're trying to establish the run in the third quarter? Like, what are you doing? Like, what
they had one of the weakest schedules in the NFL.
Yeah, listen.
And they also got to play some teams that were decent on weeks when they were suffering either injury wise or otherwise. They won some games that especially early on, that I think they looked pretty good doing and pretty convincing. I just think towards the second half of the season, they were a team that sort of lost that early identity and took advantage and made their way into winning the NFC East by beating the NFC East.
Yeah. But they were, you said it, they were woefully unprepared for this game.
They were woefully unprepared. And the look on Mike McCarthy's face during the most of that game was just one of, I'm getting beat. I'm getting beat bad.
Yep.
And that's usually not the case for him.
So at what point does the law of probability or whatever become insanity? Because it seems like the Cowboys might have just crossed over that line, right? Because can anyone except the most staunch Dallas fan at this point really see a situation where they don't not win another playoff game for who knows, another 10 years? No, they've had a long time to get it right, and there's obviously one factor, one thread that runs through all of this time, and that's Jerry Jones.
Sure.
But how many chances? How long can? No, I can't blame him altogether. But ultimately, they have not.
Dallas has
on the field.
Dallas has the personnel to win a championship. Now they might be one or two playmakers away. They also have some really good young players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, including maybe the defensive player of the year who happens to be a rookie and was a draft choice, obviously, that Dallas was fortunate enough to get because some other team was a bonehead, not to be named, decided that they would, trade down to and then not take him
take the 37th wide receiver.
Yeah.
Because that's going to make a difference.
I think that, look, I personally think that Dak Prescott is a quarterback who's capable of winning a championship with the right personnel around him. I really do. I mean, I think he's a much better quarterback than, say, a Jimmy Garoppolo. I think the problem is that in Zeke Elliott, you have somebody very similar to a Saquon Barkley, where I think his best years are behind him. I think that Dallas's offense is a little confused. I think they need to become more motion and play action, and they need, their offense seems a little old school at times. And I think what they're going to do most of the time. They have the athletes on that side of the ball to really open it up. And I think they need to do that. I think they need to get into a quicker, they need to utilize the tight end more. They need to move the ball with short passing yards so that they can open up the big play. And on defense, look, their defense didn't play a horrible game. I think they're, maybe a safety or a cornerback away from having one of the better defenses in the league. So I think they're moving in the right direction. Whether or not Mike McCarthy is the right guy, they're probably going to lose their defensive coordinator, and maybe they don't have the right offensive coordinator in place. But those can be. I think that could be something that could make this team just have a different face next year.
But see, that's my point, is they just can't seem to get all of those things together at the same time.
Right.
By the time they bring, and I don't know about McCarthy. It doesn't seem like he's really got the goods to me. But
look, I mean, there was a reason Green Bay didn't want him anymore. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Look, but I mean, by the time they get the coaching staff set, some of these guys are not getting any younger, and you're right. Elliott isn't the same player he was
and their defense. One of the biggest, and granted, Micah Parsons is definitely a big difference in what they had last year. But they still have it. But Dan Quinn is by far one of the main reasons that their defense was as incredibly great as it was this year.
I agree.
Not the only reason, but one of the main reasons. He's going to be gone. He's getting a job. He's getting another head coaching job. So you ain't going to have him again. So you got to replace him.
I don't know. They just can't ever seem to get it together.
Well, they'll win the NFC East again. And look, had Dallas gotten Philadelphia in the first round, we'd be talking about Dallas playing next week, and all the Dallas fans would be pumped up.
Sure.
Hey, we want,
I think the three of us could win the NFC East, by the way. It's not really that big of a,
Well, but look, they still, how many games did Dallas win? 11 or 12?
12.
Dallas won 12 games. It's not easy to win 12 games.
Right, that's what I mean.
Even if half of those are against the Giants, Eagles, and football team.
We're 2 weeks away from exactly 2 weeks away from knowing what the
I feel
know what the new name is.
I feel a lot more positive about. I think Dallas is moving in a direction that is going to help them in the NFC. I think next year, when you really look at the NFC coming into the season, I think you got to look at them in the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFC, and I think you got to give them a chance to move past where they were this year, and hopefully they did everything right. They had the home field. They won 12 games. They won their division. They just didn't execute. And that's been their problem all year. Even in some of the games that they won, they didn't look great.
And I think you're right, because I certainly think that Jerry Jones is definitely thinking about execution right now. But maybe not what you're talking about. So.
At least a couple of different kinds.
Look, he's stuck with Dak. Zeke is going to be there, whether or not they eat that contract or move him on in some sort of trade. I don't know. I think you're going to see him in a diminished role next year. I think they need a new offensive coordinator. McCarthy is going to be there. They're not going to you can't get rid of a guy.
Mike McCarthy's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no. And there's no better option.
He's stuck with Jason Garrett for 10 years.
Right.
Mike McCarthy's not gone after 2.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So again, we're spouting, to me, all the reasons why they may not win another playoff game for
a while.
When was the last one?
I will go out on a limb.
They won 3 in the last 25 years. They won.
25 years.
I
It could be another 25 years before they get.
I will go out on a limb and say that Dallas has a 50-50 chance of winning a playoff game next year if they make the playoffs.
Well, here you go. Longest active streak without a conference championship appearance in the NFL. Okay, I'll give you the bottom 6 teams, or the top 6 teams, if you will. Longest active streak without.
Well, one of them that's going to be in there had just recently won their first playoff game in 31 years.
Right, yeah. The top one is 32 years is the Bengals.
Right.
Okay, and the number 2, it's actually tied for the top spot, is 32 years is the Browns. That's because they were in the same AFC championship game when the Bengals went to the Super Bowl in 89. But 30 years, the Lions. 30 years, the football team. 29 years, the Dolphins. And then 26 years, the Cowboys. So those are the longest. 26 years without a conference championship appearance. Right.
I mean, that's.
But you look at all those teams. You look at the Washington team. That's surprising to me a little bit. And look,
Washington. That the last time they were in a conference championship is the last time they went to the Super Bowl, which was 91, or the 1992, the 91 season. But whatchamacallit? Yeah. So.
Yeah, but that's a product of the 90s being longer ago than we think of it, right? We haven't gotten used yesterday. Right. We haven't gotten used to the fact that
it's been 22 years since the 90s were. It's been 22 years and 3 weeks since the 90s ended.
Yeah, right. I still think the Meat Puppets are new music.
There you go. Yeah. Right. But
anyway, listen, it's
look, couple of things.
I'm almost at the point of I might need to find a new team.
A new NFC team.
A new NFC team.
Because you're not getting rid of your AFC team.
No.
I mean, the Cowboys should make you feel a lot better than compared to your AFC team.
You want to get rid of a team. You want to get rid of your NFC team because they just went to the playoffs and lost the game.
Well, no, because I mean, the thing about
your NFC team is a team that is going to make you feel better about the Jets losing, right? That's what you're talking about.
No, the NFC team is a team that I like and that I want to get to the Super Bowl and lose to the Jets. That's my NFC team. And the Cowboys obviously just ain't cutting it.
Well, if that's the case, then you should become a Giants fan. Wouldn't you love to see the Giants get to the Super Bowl against the Jets and lose?
How many decades will I be dead before the Jets and the Giants both get to the Super Bowl?
Hey, almost did in '86. I mean, the Giants went and won, but the Jets
that was almost 50 years ago.
The Jets were 63.
So you'll be dead 20 years.
The Jets were,
that's very generous of you. Thank you.
The Jets
more like I'll be dead 43 years.
The Jets were 63 minutes from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That year. So
I don't know. I don't. Whatever. Cowboys suck.
Anyway, but all right. Couple things on that. Obviously, with the clock management. I mean, that was just how. There's a couple of memes. I just put them up really quick. I had them. I threw them up really quick. I'm not trying to cast any dispersions or piss off any Dallas fans, but a couple of these are a little humorous. So I'll put up a couple of them. I won't put up a lot of them. Here you go. On Facebook, there's that 10-year challenge on Facebook. So there you go. 10-year challenge.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So there you go.
How does Romo still look younger?
I don't know. There you go. 2012 to 2022, and there you go. Let's see what else was there. This one, here you go. Perfect example of social distancing.
Yeah, nice.
Good. All right.
That's where I hadn't seen that one. That's pretty good.
There you go. Then this one right here, Dallas Super Bowl pictures. It's on a floppy disk, folks. So there you go. Then this one is it. Cowboy fans bragging about their Super Bowl wins, realize they don't have the technology to watch them because they're on VHS.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
There you go. What was the other one? Then this one, Pentagon, Hexagon, Heptagon, Season Gun. All right, and there was this one. The NFL on Nickelodeon has been great. It has been very educational as far as rules and strategies. Definitely helping the kids and Cowboys fans learn and understand the game. And then there was this one, Dallas Cowboys cycle. Season starts, beat up on bad teams, fans get delusional. We them boys, this is our year, choking the playoffs.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's why I saved it to last. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, that's just a monumental screw up in every fashion right at the end of the game.
Yep.
From the play call, and then how do you not give? How
14,
many times
you don't have a quarterback sneak, for 20 something yards with 14 seconds to go. If he wants to run 10 and get 10 yards closer, that gives the refs enough time to get up.
Do you think that was actually the play call?
It was, yeah. McCarthy said it was.
Yeah.
McCarthy said it was the play call. Yeah.
And how many times during a game, when on a play that's not a scoring play, and sometimes when it is a scoring play, do you see the player toss the referee the ball so he can reset it? Mm-hmm. You don't put it on the ground or hand it to the
center, and the center reset it. Center's not official.
That's brain diarrhea right there. How do you make those mistakes just piled one on top of the other, one on top of the other?
Then the ref, that's training camp 101. I mean,
and I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I obviously don't pay attention to the refs very much during the game. Mm-hmm. Did he really just not move while the play was moving forward? He had to sprint 25 yards down the field.
He sprinted 25 yards
to get to the. Now I don't know. Again, I'm not saying he did a bad. I don't know how it works, but I would think he would kind of be a little bit closer.
I think I don't. The camera really wasn't on him, but I think he was moving, just not running. And once the play stopped, he started hustling faster.
He might have been flabbergasted that they were calling a sneak and couldn't believe
what the hell is this?
Standing there dumbfounded. That's just mistake piled on mistake piled on mistake. And
well, on that note, you did hear Jerry Jones did fire 7 members of the Cowboys staff this week, right?
Yeah, he should fire the owner.
These guys right here.
Yeah.
This was. Weren't you talking all year long about how Jerry Jones owned the referees and?
Hey, maybe one of his checks bounced. I really have no idea.
Well, I mean, look, there were some tough calls.
I was shocked, to be quite honest.
I thought the game was over officiated. I thought there was on both sides.
Every game this year has been
too many.
Seriously, not even joking about Dallas, the refs, or any of that.
Just too many ticky tacky.
It's like, that guy sneezed, flag, 5 yards.
It's really why that game was so long.
Right.
Well, that Cowboys had 14 penalties. I mean, but you know what? That's the other thing about McCarthy. That's been their MO. Yeah. His whole tenure. They're undisciplined.
Yeah, I don't look at Mike McCarthy and go, discipline.
Right, exactly. And I mean, yes, you can beat up on bad teams and you can win 12 games, and it's not easy. Yeah. But you're not playing those easy teams once you get to the playoffs, even in the divisional round.
And why did the broadcast have to show Jerry Jones up in his booth or whatever, his luxury box after every play? I'm just
it's a contractual obligation.
They were hoping that he would stab someone,
or just jump,
or strangle somebody, or
that'd be great.
See, now that's good TV.
That'd be great if he just
with his cell phone or something.
Took a couple steps back, disappeared, and then he reappeared with just arms akimbo and just.
It's that actually that video I sent you guys was actually Jerry Jones in the booth.
Right through the plate glass. Yeah, they were hoping he'd snap and hurt somebody. I don't know. Whatever.
Speaking of the broadcast, I got one question for you, and then we'll move on because this is way too long to talk about a Cowboys loss. So,
well, that's true, but I will also say this: this was pretty much the only entertaining game.
Yeah, because everything else was a blowout.
Everything else was pretty much a blowout.
Yeah. Whatchamacallit? I will ask you this: is it just me, or are you over Tony Romo calling Dallas games?
It doesn't bother me. I will preface this by saying I was in a bar and I couldn't really hear the broadcast.
Right, you said that. Yeah.
So that helps, but I actually like Tony Romo as a broadcaster. Yeah,
I do like Tony Romo as a broadcaster. Do other games. Don't do Dallas games. CBS needs to put him. Anytime Dallas is on CBS, Tony Romo should not get the game because I
think you need to find like a nice stress ball and learn how to turn your.
Oh no, I don't. Didn't stress me out. That's just annoying. I mean, it's the same thing as, I'll equate it to almost like a Joe Buck thing when he gets up Troy Aikman's ass about something.
I would much rather listen to Tony Romo than Chris Collinsworth any day of the week on any game.
Yeah, I think there's another Collinsworth.
Yeah, Sunday night.
Is it his son?
Oh, no! I thought you meant there's another Collinsworth game. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. His son's in broadcasting.
Yeah, he was
Chris Collinsworth's son's in broadcasting. Yeah,
he was doing. Wasn't sideline. It was like in the studio. He was talking to some chick. I think. I don't know if it was ESPN or whatever.
Was that on CBS or TikTok?
No. It was on one of the networks.
Oh, okay.
Woman there, and they I wish. Of course,
I want the guy from the NFL.
I didn't make a note of it.
I think he's on NBC like Chris is. I think he's on.
He was on one of the networks, and it's like when they throw to the two of them, and they're talking about maybe it's during at the end of a quarter or something.
Yeah, no,
it wasn't a halftime show, but
it's Chris Collins. It's Chris Collinsworth's son. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
all right.
All right, let's move on to.
All right, moving on. One last thing on Dallas, really quick. I just want to bring it up. The fans were at the end of the game. The fans were throwing garbage, okay, and DeMarcus Lawrence actually warded one off with his helmet, like hit. They were just cups basically with ice in them or whatever. And Dak Prescott got pissed off because he thought the fans were throwing them at the Cowboys, and then he found out the fans were throwing them at the refs, and then Dak Prescott proceeded to say, "Well, good for them then."
Yeah.
What's your take?
Yeah. I don't think Dak Prescott's the smartest guy in the NFL.
Emotions run high. Whatever.
Emotions run high. Just don't say anything.
It's a dick move.
So, anyway, all right.
A dick move from the quarterback of a dick organization run by a dick.
There you go.
It's not going to help him next year,
It's not. Right. Exactly. That's where I was going. But
it will against the Giants.
Well, sure.
Because there's only one team the refs hate more than Dallas, and that's the Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about the game on Saturday. Was the Buffalo New England game. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, Buffalo's finally coming into their own.
That is all right. I got a couple things to say. That is the most points given up by a Bill Belichick coach team in the playoffs ever.
Yeah.
All right.
Look, the Patriots are rebuilding, and the Buffalo's, in year 3 of being one of the top teams in the league. It just needs to get hopefully over the Kansas City hurdle.
Right. That was also New England's first playoff game without Tom Brady at quarterback since 1998.
Yeah.
Yeah. 24 years ago.
Yeah.
That's right.
But that's insane. But anyway, the Bills are the first team in the Super Bowl era to score a touchdown on their first, and it went in this order, on their first 7 possessions. It was a perfect game, right? Every single time they had the ball, they scored a touchdown. Mm-hmm. No turnovers, no fumbles, no interceptions, no field goals, no punting, no nothing.
Except at the end.
Except at the end when they took knees to run the clock out. That was it.
Yeah. Who was taking those knees? Who was taking those knees?
Josh Allen?
No. Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Oh, they put him in
the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he excels at.
Yeah. Taking a knee.
Yeah.
Even he couldn't do any damage at that point. Listen, Mac and Cheese is a rookie quarterback.
He's a rookie quarterback, yeah.
Buffalo's a good defense, and they're a good offense. And they did what they needed to do with Josh Allen. We talked about them when they were struggling towards the, last third of the season, or at least, and Allen was becoming more of a drop back passer. Mm-hmm. They weren't running him as much because they were trying to protect him.
Sure.
And the running game wasn't working that well because, anybody can stack the line. And that game, when you use Josh Allen in the 3, as a runner and as a passer, and he's got pretty good football IQ as well. He's a pretty deadly weapon, and that's basically what Buffalo did. Buffalo
was healthy; they were moving in the right direction. They were fine. They finally found their bearings, and their defense, much like Kansas City, their defense has improved. And it takes all 3 aspects of the game for you to dominate like that. Yes, their offense was on fire. They're a good team. I think they had a little bit of a hard start to the season. They played a pretty tough schedule overall, but I think that helped prepare them for a moment like this where they were home and they were obviously prepared. And
they seem to have come into becoming the team that we all kind of were thinking they were going to be at the beginning of the season. And maybe, it took the whole season to kind of get there.
It did. It did.
but they seem to be there. They're peaking at the right time.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that are kind of peaking right now, and I think the teams that are playing their best football are, I think they're out of what? How many teams are left? 4?
8.
8. I mean, 8 games, 4 games, 8 teams.
4 games.
Out of the 8 teams, I mean, I think you could say 5 of those teams are kind of peaking right now. And when you look at a Buffalo, when you look at Cincinnati, I think Kansas City, Green Bay, they haven't really dipped, so I'll put them in that category. But those teams are actually playing their best ball right now. I think teams like Tampa Bay and the Rams, we'll see. I mean, I think Tampa Bay is going to be dealing with a bunch of key injuries. I think we're going to have to wait till Friday or Saturday to really see who plays for the Bucs.
Yeah.
But again, the teams that are peaking are playing good ball right now.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to the Rams game, Matt Stafford before Monday's game. Matt Stafford had thrown more touchdown passes without winning a playoff game in NFL history. Now he has won an NFL playoff game, so there you go. But speaking of passes and touchdowns, Odell Beckham Jr. Yes,
Odell Brewing Company threw a touchdown pass.
There you go. Odell Brewing Company is a very good brewing company out there in Colorado. Mm-hmm. All right. It's not owned by Beckham, but it should be maybe.
Not yet.
Not yet. He'll buy it one day. But anyway, let me give you some stats really quick. This season, with the Browns, Odell Beckham played 6 games, scored 0 touchdowns. He had 3 red zone targets, and he had 2 dropped passes. Okay. With the Rams, so far, he played 9 games. He has 6 touchdowns, 10 red zone targets, and no drops. Okay. You think it's because of the change of scenery, or is this a testament to the lack of ability by Baker Mayfield?
Well, it's not just Baker Mayfield; it's the whole offense, and it's also the fact that he's on some plays he's a third option. So when you have Odell Beckham Jr. as your third option, when you're double teaming 2 or 3 other guys, sure, it's going to make him open. He's using his abilities, but he's also not being double teamed, and he's in a system which is going to get him open with let's face it, a better quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a better offensive
secret
line.
That Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback.
Yeah, he's got a better offensive line, a more balanced offense, a much more dynamic offensive system.
Right.
And by the way, look at the other guys that are lining up on the line of scrimmage with them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Listen, the Browns had a lot of offensive options, right? We headed into this season talking about how they could have an explosive offense.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're the third option, and again, Baker Mayfield, maybe he's not quite as good as Matthew Stafford at getting to that third option.
Well, I don't think Beckham was a third option on the Browns.
Beckham was.
No, that's what I mean. On the Browns, if he's the third option, maybe Mayfield doesn't check down quite as well as a guy like Stafford, who obviously has a lot more experience.
Right.
Would maybe do if you put Stafford on the Browns, then maybe Beckham might get some looks, but I don't know. He just never seemed to fit into that offense in Cleveland.
Well, and he won't fit into this one next year. Right. So, I mean, it's just his MO. He'll get pissy and something will go wrong and he'll start to, he'll be gone.
Odell Beckham Jr. get pissy? No.
Yeah. But for right now, he's on a high. Whatever cocktail that's going through his head is working, and he's happy because he's getting balls thrown his way.
Well, hopefully he won't. We'll see if he goes out on a boat with some of his teammates.
No boats. I'm sure they've already told him you're not going anywhere near water while you're.
That's probably in his contract.
We'll see. We'll see what his last game of the season turns out this week.
Oh,
foreshadowing his pick. Look at that. All right. So, all right. Well, a couple other things. Tom Brady. All right, and the Bucs. That quarterback, Tom Brady.
He has a future. That guy.
I think he's a good guy. Yeah. Anyway, Tom Brady is older than every opposing NFC head coach still in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tom Brady's 44. Sean McVay is 35.
Take your word for
Kyle Shanahan is the 42, and Matt LaFleur is 42 as well. So
here's the thing, though. Tom Brady's never won a game as an NFL head coach. Not a single one.
Not once.
Some would argue maybe he's won a bunch as a head coach.
Actually,
no. I don't think so.
I think Bruce Arians would even admit that maybe he's co-head coach.
To some extent, right, exactly. Oh, God. Anyway, and another interesting factoid here. The Bengals and Titans are playing, obviously, each other this week in the divisional round. They have one very strange thing in common. You know what that is?
Ugly uniforms.
They both lost to the Jets this year.
Mm.
So, 2 of the Jets' 4 wins are playing each other in the divisional round this weekend. The Bengals lost to the Jets 34-31, and the Titans lost to the Jets 27-24.
The Titans are the most confounding team in the NFL, and we still don't know if their best player is going to play this week.
Sure.
They said he's 90%.
Yeah,
well,
Derrick Henry at 90% is a lot better than a lot of
90% ready to play, but is he ready? How is he going to fit back in? I think this
do you want to mess with this
with what's going
formula,
on,
which has obviously had success. Other than
has it though? Look at what Tennessee's done at the end of the year. They've won some games, but they've also lost a couple games that you scratch your head. And didn't they also lose to Houston?
Yeah, but everybody's lost a few games that you scratch your head.
Not.
I mean, anybody who lost to the Jets,
playing down a level of competition.
Anybody who lost to Houston. I mean, those are,
Tennessee to me is the least. They're the most confounding 1 seed I think maybe ever.
Yeah, I was shocked that they actually wound up with the 1 seed. That was strange. But
you know what? They have pretty good offensive line and a pretty good defensive line.
They're a good team. They're very good
at their core, and that can make up for a lot.
Why am I hesitant in picking them to win this week against a team that they should, on paper? They just.
Well, who else on the team is flashy?
Well, there's nothing flashy. I don't need flashy. Flashy. If you know me, I don't like flashy. Yeah, but
no, but it was Derrick Henry, right? And then it wasn't Derrick Henry, and then it was a parade of guys, and
who still did great. Yeah, still did great. But
maybe
it's Tannehill that just doesn't. But maybe Tannehill doesn't have to win the game for him.
No, maybe not.
Yeah, they find a way to win.
Yeah, this is true. All right, a couple other things I got here. I thought this was a cute story too. Jason Kelce is obviously center for the Eagles, and obviously his brother Travis, you know him from I think he plays for Kansas City. I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, their mother, right? She was in Tampa for the Bucs Eagles game at 1:00. When the game was over, she left, went to the airport, flew to Kansas City, and was in Arrowhead for.
She's the Phil Collins of NFL moms.
There you go. So.
Good for her.
I just thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting. Anyway, all right.
People's kids are going to bed hungry.
There you go.
But good for her. She gets to go to 2 games to watch her millionaire NFL sons play. I'm happy for her.
Please tell us how you feel about that.
Hopefully she's a nice lady. Obviously, I don't know.
She's not as annoying as Steph Curry's parents. So.
There you
go. Fucking idiots.
All right. On that note,
she's no Richard Williams.
That's right.
Really. CBS is predicting head coaches where they're going to go, where they're going to land. All right. See how you feel about this. They're predicting Brian Leftwich is going to wind up the head coach of the Jags. Doug Peterson is going to wind up the head coach of the Vikings. Brian Dable is going to end up the head coach of the Bears. Dan Quinn is going to wind up the head coach of the Broncos. Eric Bieniemy is going to finally get that job and wind up the head coach of the Dolphins. Brian Flores is going to get the job with the Giants. Jim Harbaugh is going to get the job with the Raiders. And Jonathan Gannon will be the head coach of the Texans. So what's your thought on those predictions?
Guy from Buffalo is not going to get a job?
Brian Dable.
Where's he going to go?
Chicago. According to CBS, he's going to go to Chicago.
I want him and the Bills front office guy to go to the New York Giants.
Well, let's put it this way.
Sorry for him going to Chicago.
Well, let's put it this way. That's CBS's predictions, right?
Right.
So on that note, let's talk about that. The Giants started the second round of GM interviews yesterday. They interviewed Joe Sheen first from Buffalo, the assistant GM up there. He looks like the front runner. You know, they have to do their due diligence with a few others. They don't have to have the 9 interviews they did. They just have to interview, I think, 2 others, and then to make the decision or whatever. All signs point to they're going to hire Joe Sheen. What is stopping? I mean, it's Joe Sheen's call. Why is he not going to bring Brian Daboll here to New York too?
And I've read some reports that if it's Sheen, then Daboll's pretty much a lock for jumping to the top of the coaching options. Sure. The only thing that's hurting the Giants right now is that some of these people probably want a decision as soon as possible.
Sure.
I heard today the Giants are scheduled to interview Dan Quinn.
Oh, yeah?
That's what I heard.
Interesting.
So you don't have a GM yet, but see, I think I was asking this last week.
What's funny is Dan Quinn and Brian Flores are both local boys. I mean, Brian Flores grew up in Brooklyn or whatever, and Dan Quinn grew up in Morris Plains or Morristown.
Yeah, Quinn seems to be the hottest commodity right now.
Yeah.
Which
that's the consensus.
Is a little bit of a head scratcher to me. Yeah, I mean,
he did a great job as a defense coordinator down in Dallas. But I mean, look at it this way, and I'm not by no means am I comparing him to Todd Bowles, but look at what Todd Bowles did as the defensive coordinator in Arizona, and look what he's doing as the defensive coordinator in Tampa. But look what he did as the head coach.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand all that. Yeah.
You know, so now Dan Quinn. Make no mistake, Dan Quinn had a better record as a head coach of the Falcons than Todd Bowles did as head coach of the Jets, but you know, there's similarities there. So, but in any event, I mean, he was pretty good up in Seattle. I think it was the Legion of Boom he was involved with up there.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
I think he did pretty well.
Certainly,
yeah. So, but in any event,
decent resume.
Right. But now CBS is predicting that Brian Flores is going to get the job. There's been a lot of reports out there that Deshaun Watson has been in constant communication for some reason with Brian Flores because they had talked obviously about Miami, I'm assuming at some point, that they want to package the two of them together and go to the Giants. I do not see John Mara, regardless of the outcome of, and we talked about this last week a little bit, regardless of the outcome of his personal, trials and tribulations for that matter, signing Deshaun Watson. It's too many skeletons there.
Well, there's only one way that happens for next year, right? Because it's not going to be decided in court if Deshaun Watson decides to fight this all the way, because it's going to take too long. So he either has to take some sort of plea or settlement, and it seems like there are at least 2 or 3 of these women who don't want to settle. Now, maybe they just haven't gotten the right number yet or whatever, but he's going to have do something that sort of is, even if it's not an out-and-out admission of guilt, it's an admission of guilt in order to settle this. And so then you go, well, okay, that's done. Now he can actually play. Or now we can, think about whether we want to touch him again. Or do we want to touch the guy who goes, yeah, I got massages and I forced girls into, whacking me off and whatever, if he, you know what I mean? Like, okay, great. Now he can play, but now he's a serial sexual assaulter by his own admission. So now do we want him?
Yeah, if there's any admission of guilt there or whatever, he's probably going to have to go on a registry too, right?
I would think so.
He would think, right? So, I mean, who the hell is going to want to sign him? I mean, it sucks because he's a ridiculous good talent.
Is he going to register at Bed Bath & Beyond?
Yes, in the fluffy pillow section.
Yeah.
But, we do love to give athletes a second chance.
Right.
But, I mean, if he's going to maintain his innocence and it's going to go through, and listen, and he could be convicted in the civil trial. You don't need a unanimous jury in the civil. You need 9.
You need 9, yeah.
So he may get convicted, and that might actually be the best outcome for him
civil.
As far as his deniability.
That's not a criminal trial. It's a
right.
Civil
You can say,
trial.
well, I
it's
wasn't
all about
convicted
money.
Criminally, it was right. It was about money, but how long? That's not going to happen before next season.
Hell no, not at all. It'd be lucky if it happens in 2024.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, I mean, the other fact of the matter too is there's another word on the street, if you will, that Russell Wilson is exploring the idea of playing for the Giants.
I don't think Russell Wilson's going anywhere.
I don't think he is either. I think that's all talk to get him to, let him have a little bit more control with Pete Carroll, or over.
Well, they're also talking about Derek Carr too, right?
I don't think Derek Carr is going to go anywhere.
I don't think Derek Carr is going anywhere.
As far as,
I think Derek Carr has sort of cemented himself to be, especially with the adversity that they had this year. I think he's sort of set there. It's a good fit.
It is. It works.
Well, look, they fired Mike Mayock, right? So they're getting a new GM,
right? Mike Mayock
yes.
actually did. Fun fact for you, Mike Mayock, the only NFL playing time he actually did regular season games was with the Giants. Mike Mayock. So there you go.
There you go. The interim coach should probably get a shot at being the new head coach, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to.
No, probably not.
Because what's the
if they can get Harbaugh.
What's the Davis kid's name? I don't know his first name. Greg?
Mike Davis, isn't it?
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis.
He's a lot quieter than his old man, but he's
a little bit.
He's kind of weird.
His father had a better haircut. But.
Yeah, and I think his father had a better football mind too.
And again, The Rock has a better haircut. But
so I don't know. They might be looking to move Derek Carr.
You never know. But look at it this way. I think what's the I always forget his name. Whatchamacallit?
Chucky?
The interim coach that took over for Bisaccia.
But yeah,
Bisaccia.
Yeah. Focaccia.
Yeah, there you go.
He should get a shot, but he might not.
He really should get a shot.
That's my point.
Look, if they have a shot to get Jim Harbaugh, are they giving Rick Bisaccia
Probably
a shot?
Not. No. That's my point. Mark Davis is a bit of a wild card.
Right.
So
there you go. And
you're going to bring in a new GM. You're going to bring in a new head coach. Mm-hmm. If they're not in love with Derek Carr, they might be looking to trade him. Who would you rather have on the Giants, Derek Carr or Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
No, that's a stupid.
Derek Carr's brother David played on the Giants. He was he won a Super Bowl with the Giants. Well, he didn't really do anything. He was Eli's backup.
He won a Super Bowl near the Giants. He was Giants adjacent.
So, but in any event, yeah. So, and then also Cliff Kingsbury. There's been a lot of people in Arizona apparently calling for his head after 3 seasons.
Well, listen, I think
I don't think he's
I think you make a good case that that's an experiment that didn't work out.
Yeah, but they've been a great team. They just can't put it together down the stretch. But then again, that's the same MO for the Raiders for the last several years, and they finally did it too. So I mean, hey, it's the same all over sports. It's when you get hot, right? If you're hot, you can be hot for the first 12 games of the season and go 12-0, and then other teams get hot, and then you're not so hot, right? Look at the Braves. Who would have thought at the trade deadline that the Braves are going to win the World Series, that they were even going to get to the playoffs? You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's not apples to apples, but it's the same principle.
No, it's kind of like, what do they say in golf? You drive for show and putt for dough, right?
There you go.
Well, the playoffs are the putting green.
Mm-hmm.
In the NFL, if you don't.
Yeah, there's just certain teams that just don't have the confidence in them. And a lot of that has to do with the quarterback, but a lot of it just has to do with the overall composite of the team. And that's, why I made the picks that I did last week. And I think we all did, because there's just certain teams that they don't give you that sort of feeling that, oh yeah, they're going to win a big game against this team, which we know is going to be ready to go and has more talent.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. All right, 2 other quick things really quick.
I'll do them slowly. Two quick things slowly.
One is just an announcement. There's not really to discuss about it. Word on the street is that the Jets are looking to trade back with one of their first-round picks.
Good, great.
And whatever that may be.
Why would you want to use 2 top 10 picks?
Why would you want to use 2 top 10?
Why would you want to do that and get 2?
Why would you? What would you ever think of wanting to do something like that? I mean,
yeah.
There's
just by the time we get to number 9, there's nobody we really like. We think we can take a flyer on somebody in the 3rd round, on a couple of those guys, and so we'll trade away that 10th pick.
if the Giants situation was the same as it was last year, would not have shocked me one bit to find out that they're trading both of their first round picks back, and just to wind up with 3 or 4 number 1 picks next year. You know, so that they can keep doing that, and 30 years from now they can have all 32 picks.
Yeah.
So they can just field a team out of the first round.
Yeah.
Nobody has to show up except for the Giants GM, and they could just draft everyone on day one. So anyway, but all right, and the only
they'll be pulling numbers off the board. What don't we have for next? We don't have a we don't have a 6th round pick for next year. All right, we'll trade him for a 6th rounder and an 8th rounder.
There you go.
Get those covered.
We want all the picks in the draft. There you go. So anyway, all right. I did want to bring this up last week, but obviously time constraints and everything else we were talking about.
Too long. Too much time has passed. Can't do it.
No. It's rookies for the year. So
rookies of the year.
The Roys.
The Roys. So
top 10 rookies.
Top 5 rookies. Top 5 rookies. I want your opinion, but I'm going to give you mine. You can tell me you agree. Throw somebody else in there. Whatever. I'll just rattle them off. I'm going to go and I'm going to go in order. I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 is Jaylen Waddle. All right, he had 104 receptions with Miami. Okay, he's pretty good. That's the rookie reception record, and he actually beat out Anquan Bolden, Michael Thomas, OBJ, and Eddie Royal in that order.
They didn't even have a starting quarterback the whole year.
No, they did. They had to it.
Right.
No, but he didn't play every game.
Right. Mac Jones, number 4. He just he's one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the last 20-something years rookie quarterbacks to make the playoffs in his rookie year. Okay, and the others obviously are Dak Prescott, RG3, Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson, and Andy Dalton. So there you go. Number 3, I'm going to Creed Humphrey, center for the Chiefs. Chiefs picked him up. He was the number 1 rated center this year as a rookie.
Yeah,
so,
he's a center. Nothing
Really
exciting about that.
Well, exciting.
Nobody hikes the ball as good as this rookie.
This guy.
Actually, the center's probably the hardest offensive line position to play.
It's the most boring.
No,
boring
it's actually the most exciting.
It is, but he's the number 1 rated center, and he's a rookie. So
we know he can count to like 4. Nobody has to count anymore, right? They just stomp their foot and then you hike the ball.
Right, exactly, something like that. So number 2, Jamar Chase, 1,455 yards receiving.
Yeah, 13 touchdowns.
13 touchdowns. So that the 1455, that's a rookie record as well.
Yeah, that's a 17-game season though.
And he beat out Justin Jefferson, Anquan Bolden, OBJ, and somebody else I forget. But yeah, so he's got that record. And the number 1, I'm giving it to Micah Parsons because his 84 tackles, 13 sacks. He played edge. He played middle. He was a beast. And one more time, I'm just going to say he should have been on the Giants, but that's besides the point. So there you go. Those are mine. So Jaylen Waddle, Mac Jones, Creed Humphrey, Jamar Chase, and Micah Parsons. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably put Rashawn Slater on that list in the top, 5. I'd maybe have Micah Parsons 1. I think that's about right. But Slater moved. He moved positions, and he did. He had a 91% pass block win rate. Him and Humphrey, I think, were the star rookie offensive linemen.
Oh, sure, definitely.
Jamar Chase has to be there. Other names in no particular order. I think Kyle Pitts started a little slowly, but surely proved to be again another pick that the Giants passed on. And I think Patrick Surtain, missed the last game with the Broncos, but he was really, really good and played like a guy who's been in the NFL for 4 years already.
Yep, I agree.
Waddle, of course. Devonta Smith. I don't know how many receptions he had, but he was pretty close. there. And then another Bronco, who might take over the starting spot next year. Javonte Williams for the Broncos, almost had 1,000 yards, rushing this year. So, and he was splitting time at running back. So, all things considered, is some pretty good rookie performances this year.
There were a lot.
Couple of quick numbers on Devonta Smith.
Go ahead.
They're impressive, but not kind of for the normal reasons. So 64 catches, 916 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. Okay. But that was in the offense that had the fewest pass attempts per game in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And 2/3 of his receptions resulted in first downs. So he was the go-to guy. You know, I don't know how many of those were third down passes, but obviously he was the go-to guy in the offense that threw 29 times a game, which is the lowest in the league. So,
well, that's another thing too. I just said before that Micah Parsons should have been on the Giants, and he should have been, but that's not who they were going to take. If Dallas didn't flip with Philly, and Philly take Devonta Smith, the Giants were taking Devonta Smith. They were still taking a wide receiver. They got Kadarius Toney, but they would have taken Smith. So anyway,
and I don't think I would put Pitts in the top 5, but I would definitely put him in the top.
He's 10. In the top 10. Pitts is in the top 10. I would have had Slater.
I think he's got a lot of upside. I think it took him a little while to kind of find his footing, literally, but he's only the second rookie tight end in the history of the league to top 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
The first
Although they all had an extra game to do it.
Yeah. Well, he had 3 extra games over the guy that did it.
Get your asterisk. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and the guy,
that guy didn't make my team.
He didn't, did he?
It was his hair.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's one thing that's not on this list, and that's no Giant or Jet is on this list.
Yeah.
No, there's not. Kadarius Toney and Zach Wilson is not on this list. Are not on this list.
Now, Toney had an all right year, right?
Yeah.
When he played.
Was he hurt a lot?
The 6 games he played, I think.
Oh, okay. Is that what happened to him?
He got hurt, and then he got hurt again, and then he got hurt.
Okay.
Then he got COVID, and then he
got COVID, and then he got hurt. Right. So, but anyway,
he ran off the field at the same time as Antonio Brown, even though he wasn't even in that game.
He said, "I've had enough."
Right.
I don't like the direction this team is going.
East.
Ow, my ankle, coach! I can't play.
There you go. All right. Anyway, all right. Should we do some picks?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do some picks.
Why don't we do some picks? Beaten by the coin.
Beaten by the coin.
I'm sure I'll lose to the coin.
No one wants to be beaten by the coin.
All right.
I'll put it up.
Put it up. The race is still close.
Look at that.
Congratulations, Harry Lug Nutz, with a 6-0 week.
6-0 week. There you go.
Very nice. Making all the right picks.
We all had a pretty good week, other than the coin.
Yeah, the coin is back to form, going 2-4. Listen, it tried to recreate its Week 18 magic by picking a lot of the underdogs, and obviously that was foolish. So
Foolish,
John and I
say.
losing a game. So me, John, Harry, 1, 2, 3, and they're going now 6 games, back to 6 games under.
All a game apart, the 3 of us.
Yeah, all of us, 1 game apart. So it is a close race.
Yes, it is.
And we've still got enough games that anyone can do it. And we're going to have some differences this week if Harry's foreshadowing turns out to be accurate, or if he was just pulling our leg.
We don't
think
know.
he and I are going to disagree. So this is the week I go down.
This is a tough week.
It's a very tough week.
It is.
This is definitely the toughest week we've picked so far.
Let's start off with Cincinnati visiting them. Tennessee, I don't know how they're so good. Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it first. I'm taking Tennessee.
All right. Harry?
I'm going with the upset. Joe Burrow's going to beat this team. This is I'm going with the Bengals.
I would be taking, I'll say it like this, I'll phrase it like this. I would be taking Tennessee if they played this past weekend. They're not going to win. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are winning the game. It's Cincinnati.
Wow.
All right.
I thought I'd be alone on that island.
Yeah.
Let's see what the old coin says.
I'll show you my check mark right here.
No, I believe you.
So I'm alone on the island. The coin likes the away team,
All right.
which is the Bengals. All right, next up, those surprising San Francisco fuck you Niners. And the when was the last time they played? It was week 11, Green Bay Packers. We haven't heard anything about Green Bay recently.
They haven't played since week 11.
Well, I mean, they haven't really had to give much effort, right?
They lost to the Lions in week 18.
Yeah, that was for show, though.
That was for show.
I think they had some of the second stringers in there.
Green Bay's winning the game.
I'm going to go with the anti-vaxxing man bun and all the way to the Super Bowl. Green Bay wins.
Yeah, there are a few things that San Francisco can do to maybe pull off
this
the
week.
upset.
Winning is not one.
To maybe pull off the upset, but they need a perfect
I just don't
game.
I don't think they have the offense.
They don't. They almost lost to the Cowboys. Green Bay is a better team.
And I think Green Bay is going to. And one thing that I did notice with San Francisco is that they leave a lot of the underneath routes open, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to pick them apart. Dallas wasn't able to exploit it. I think Green Bay will, and I think this Green Bay will win pretty handily.
All right, so we all agree Green Bay. I dropped the coin again.
Oh, you and drop it.
You know the coin's taking the Niners.
Probably. All right, let's get a legitimate flip here.
You need a referee hat when you.
I gotta stop putting Vaseline on my hands before I do this.
Sure
comes up tails. They love San Francisco.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Coin is going all out.
Coin's saying fuck it.
Well,
It's like
Coin can't possibly catch up.
Coin's on DraftKings right now, taking Jimmy Garoppolo for over 300 yards.
Right, exactly.
6,000 to 1.
Yeah, the Coin's parlays are going to be sick. All right, the Los Angeles Rams versus the Tampa Bay Pirates
versus the Tom Brady Buccaneers.
Another tough one. Tampa Bay's got some question marks. That maybe 3 of their starting offensive linemen would be out this usually spells disaster, but I think Wirf will probably play.
He's in a walking boot. He's been in a walking boot, so
yeah. Can they switch that to a running boot or a trotting
boot? Trotting boot would work. So, although I mean, how much more than a little bit of walking does he have to do?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. It's
a hard one.
I'm gonna go with the Bucs.
It's definitely a hard one. I honestly think it's gonna come down to home field.
Yeah.
If this game was in LA, I'd be picking the Rams, but I'm picking the Bucs.
All right. For me, the question is, can they? Obviously, the Rams are a good team. Can they play like the team that they are, or
and again,
can they play their
for
potential
2 weeks in a row? Can they? Yeah. Right? Can they play to their potential for 2 weeks in a row?
If there's any team that can get pressure on Brady, especially with the depleted offensive line, it's the Rams. It's a tough one. Common sense sort of tells me, but I think Tampa Bay I think they were able to overcome those obstacles this past week. I think rather easily. I think they'll win in a close one. I think this could come down to a field goal at the end of the game.
Right.
I'm going to take LA. I think they've got enough. I think they've got something to prove. Sean McVay had the team ready to go last week, and I think
it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't be that surprising an upset. All right, let's see what the coin says. Coin says heads. So
going
once
with
again,
the Bucs.
I am out on an island again.
Look at that.
All right, that's fine. I told you this is the week I lose.
This is
all right. And finally, the Buffalo Bills visiting the Kansas City Chieftains.
Mm-hmm.
Is Buffalo for real?
Both these teams are for real. These
who's going to show up?
This might be this might be the Super Bowl.
I'm taking Buffalo, by the way.
I'm going to go with the Bills too. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm going to go with the Bills.
I got to go with Kansas City.
He likes KC.
I got to go with Kansas City.
I think that's a logical choice by a slim margin.
It's really difficult. I'm so tempted to take the Bills. I mean, they can't do that 2 weeks in a row, can they?
Well, they're not going to do. They're not going to do what they did last week. Right. But what they're going to do is they're going to they're going to put themselves in a position to win the game,
right?
Because I think they're
But
obviously going to be able to slow down
too.
Kansas City more than Pittsburgh did.
So
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I think this is a 28, 25, 28, 27 game, something like that. I really do.
I'm on the fence. I really am. I'm just going to lean to. I'm just going to, again, same as the Tampa Bay and Rams game. I'm going to lead the home field.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
if
agree.
this game is in Buffalo, I'd be taking them.
Yeah, it's hard to go against Kansas City, but especially at home. But I don't know. Buffalo's on a mission, and
Sure.
they're really good.
They are.
All right, let's see what the coin says. Coin likes the home team.
Oh, great. Me and the coin.
Chiefs, the chefs.
Well, there we go. That's great.
This is a tough week. This is a tough week. This could either blow it wide open for Radio Pete or make it even. John could take the lead.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, you and I could end up tied.
Mm-hmm.
If I lose both of my alternate picks, then you and I
Look,
could end up tied.
The way some of these picks are, it could you could take the lead, Harry. So it's kind of open to anybody. We're only a game apart.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, I thought I was 3 games back.
You're 2 games back of Pete, 1 game back of me. We're one game separates the 3 of us.
Well, there you go. That's why I'm going big. Going big or going home.
There you go.
Oh yeah, you and I could end up tied and both ahead of John.
There you go. All right.
I don't know. I was told there'd be no math.
Those are good. Well,
there isn't.
We don't have to do math. We'll just look at it next
I
week.
have a hard enough time adding up the weekly totals and the
no math
totals.
and no stats. Pete.
Exactly.
We know where you're at. No logical comparisons.
Yeah, I don't.
And another week that we actually finished right when the.
Look, we should have finished. There's only 4 games to pick.
This is true.
Well,
I guess we normally do 5. So 5 or 6.
Here's what we could
6,
do.
yeah,
We could go John, and then you go Cincinnati, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Harry, Cincinnati, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I get my 4, and then we flip the coin 4 times.
Cleveland, Miami.
Cleveland, Miami, the
Detroit,
Lions, and the Jags.
Steelers are going to play another week.
We talk about the Jags. 3 years ago, the Jaguars were in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Or was it 4 years ago? 4 years ago they were. Yeah. Anyway, but
their owner's kind of a nut job, right?
Say again?
Their owner.
Their owner
is a bit of a nut
is.
job, right? Isn't he
I don't know them.
A sheik from
Sheik
wherever?
Is Sahad, or what is his name?
Yeah. He's. I think he's very much an emotional guy.
A little bit. So, all right.
Can kind of get in the way of
as opposed to the other owners.
As opposed to the other
being a Dallas Cowboys.
As opposed to the other Stepford owners.
You can get in the way of quality decision making when you.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. I guess that brings us to our top 10.
Oh boy, finally.
We should do our top 10 list. Our top 10 list tonight. Let me pull this up really quick right here. Our top 10 list tonight is top 10, if you didn't know it by what I'm wearing, top 10 Atlanta Falcons of all time. Top 10 Atlanta Falcons of all time. And we have...
Somehow we have
13.
13.
You guys didn't actually look at the stats.
Oh, no. I did. So,
I did put a little bit of work into.
Between us, we had 16 players.
Yeah.
3 of them didn't make it. They were all the three were 1-pointers. I think each of us had a 1-pointer that didn't make it, I think is what it was. Yeah. So, but in any event, 13. We have 13. We have a 2-way tie at 10. A 3-way tie at 5. So
2-way tie for last.
A 2-way tie for last. There you go. All right.
Fortunately, we don't really have to say that much about too many of these guys.
No. We can talk about them pretty quickly. So
I'd say just read their names. Skip the middle names. If we skip the middle names, we could take 5 minutes out of this.
At least. All right. We'll start. Number 10, tied for number 10, our first number 10, if you will, is William Andrews. William Andrews. No middle name. So there you go. Saved it right there. A running back out of Auburn, drafted in the 3rd round in 1979 by the Falcons, played his entire 8-year career with the Atlanta Falcons. He was a 2-time second-team All-Pro and a 4-time Pro Bowler. And he won the George Halas Courage Award in 1987 after he retired, and he's in the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor. 5,986 rushing yards and 30 touchdowns for his career. William Andrews tied for number 10. All right, also tied for number 10 is somebody that's been on another list. recently, and that would be Mr. Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was, I believe, number 1 on the Kansas City list.
Yeah, which is why I left him off this one.
And
just not enough time.
He didn't have enough time in there. But he definitely is, compared to stats and everything else that he did do with the Falcons, he actually, did do a lot for the team. So Anthony David Gonzalez, tight end, of course, out of California, drafted in the first round with pick number 13 in the 97 draft by the Chiefs. And after 12 years with the Chiefs, he played 5 years for the Falcons. 6-time first-team All-Pro, and one of those was with the Falcons. So 4-time second-team All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowler. 4 of them were with the Falcons. 4 of the 5 years he was on the Falcons, he was a Pro Bowler. Receptions leader in 2004, 2000's All-Decade Team, 100th Anniversary Team, and, of course, he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mr. Tony Gonzalez, tied for number 10. All right. That brings us to number 9. Number 9 is going to be Mr. Keith Brooking. Keith Howard Brooking, to be exact. Middle linebacker out of Georgia Tech, first round pick number 12 in the 98 draft. He spent 11 seasons with the Falcons and then 3 seasons with the Cowboys, and he finished his career out in Denver with the Broncos and Harry. He was a second-team All AAC in college in 97. But he was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 5 years straight, 01 through 05 with the Falcons, and a 2-time second-team All-Pro as well. 1,435 tackles for his career, 22 sacks. Keith Howard Brooking, number 9 on our list. That brings us to number 8. Number 8 is the first of 2 quarterbacks on this list. That would be Mr. Steve Bartkowski. Stephen Joseph Bartkowski. Played, he's a quarterback, obviously, out of California. Number 1 pick overall in the 1975 draft. Played for 11 seasons with the Falcons and then finished his career with the Rams for 1 year in 86. 2-time Pro Bowler, NFL passing touchdowns leader in 1980. Passer rating leader in 1983. He's in the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor. And he is in the College Football Hall of Fame. So there you go. Mr. Stephen Bartkowski, number 8 on our list. Moving on to number 7. Number 7 is Mr. Primetime, or Neon Dion as they call them. Dion Lewin Sanders Sr., the jersey I'm wearing right there. There you go. His position is head coach for the – no, I'm kidding. Now, he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion, neither with the Falcons, but he was drafted in the first round of with pick 5 number overall of the 89 draft. Played for the Falcons for 5 years, the 49ers for a year, the Cowboys for 5 years, the Redskins for a year, and then the Ravens for 2 years. He won a Super Bowl with each of the 49ers and the Cowboys. But his first 5 years were with the Falcons, and formidable years, if you will, and he had some pretty damn good, impressive numbers with the Atlanta Falcons. So, number 7, Primetime, Deion Sanders. All right, moves us to number 6. Number 6 is Mr. Claude Humphrey. Claude B. Humphrey. Can't tell you what the B stands for because it's not here, but Claude B. Humphrey.
Bad.
Bad. There you go. Defensive end out of Tennessee State, drafted with the 3rd pick overall in the first round of the 68 draft. He played for 11 seasons with the Atlanta Falcons and then finished his career with 3 seasons with the Eagles. He was an NFC champion in 1980 with the Eagles. I believe they went to the Super Bowl that year and lost it to the Raiders, if memory serves. 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, Defensive Rookie of the Year in 68. He's in the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor, and he is indeed in Canton, Ohio, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Rookie of the Year, too.
Rookie of the Year.
8-time first or second team All-Pro.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pretty impressive.
NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 68. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely impressive numbers. Yeah, Humphrey was
nobody else on this list had more than 3 first team All-Pro selections. He had 5.
Man, All-Pro's overrated.
He was a systems All-Pro. No, he was an awesome player, Claude Humphrey, and he just passed away last month. So but at the age of 77. But anyway,
rest in peace.
Rest easy, Claude. Number 6 on our list, Claude Humphrey. All right, that brings us to number 5. Number 5 is going to be Mike Ken. Michael Lee Ken, to be exact, offensive tackle out of Michigan. Picked in the first round of the 1978 draft, 13th pick overall by the Falcons. Played his entire 17-year career with the Atlanta Falcons. 3-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, and he's, of course, in the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor. Michael Lee Ken, Mike Ken, number 5 on our
honor,
list.
Shouldn't it?
What's that?
Shouldn't it be the Falcons' nest of honor?
Falcons Nest of Honor. There you go.
I think that would be.
I think you should write them in. Write
Right.
into them.
I'll let him know.
Let him know.
You know what? I'll have Prime send him a
Yeah,
send him a
just
message.
call Dion. Let him.
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. He probably his voice carries a little more weight than mine with the Falcons organization.
That's close.
Yeah,
It's close. A little bit. Smidge. There you go. All right. Number 5, Mike Ken. That brings us. That's a 3-way tie. I forgot to say that we have a 3-way tie for number 5. So Mike Ken was the first number 5. Our second number 5 tonight is Roddy White. And there he is. Sherrod Lamar White. Roddy White. Roddy being the nickname. There you go. Wide receiver out of UAB. First round, pick number 27 of the 05 draft. Spent his entire 11-year career with the Atlanta Falcons. First team All-Pro in 2010. 4-time Pro Bowler. NFL receptions leader in 2010. And, of course, he is in the Atlanta Falcons Nest of Honor. I changed it. So there you go. 808 receptions for his career, over 10,000 receiving yards, and 63 receiving touchdowns as well. Roddy White tied for number 5 on our list. And I forgot to call Dion Mr. 7. That was my bad. Dion's Mr. 7 tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The coveted
Mr. 7. So there you go. Our third number 5 is none other than Mr. Tommy Nobis. Tommy Nobis. Thomas Henry Nobis Jr. Tommy Nobis has the distinct honor of being the very first Atlanta Falcon. He was drafted in the first round with the first pick overall of the 1966 draft. And he played for the Falcons for 11 seasons, his entire career. He was the first Atlanta Falcon. NFL Rookie of the Year in 66, first team All-Pro in 67, second team All-Pro in 68, 5-time Pro Bowler, and NFL 1960s All-Decade team. He's in the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. He's in the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor. And he's got a lot of accolades for college as well. National Champion 63, Outland Trophy in 65, Maxwell Award in 65, Newt Rockney Memorial Trophy in 65, Consensus All-American in 65, and his Texas Longhorns number 60 is retired. And he's in the College Football Hall of Fame. So there you go. Tommy Nobis, also tied for number 5 on our list. All right. Brings us to the top 4. Here we go. Number ties. Number 4 on our list tonight is Mr. Jesse Tuggle. Jesse Floyd Tuggle III. Middle linebacker out of Valdosta State. Went undrafted in 1987. And the Atlanta Falcons grabbed him right up, and he played 14 seasons for the Atlanta Falcons. 14 years. Only team he played for, so his entire career is spent in Atlanta. 5-time Pro Bowler, 1-time second-team All-Pro. He's in the Atlanta Falcons Nest of Honor. Should we keep calling it that? Silence.
I'll leave that up to you.
It'll never catch on if we.
No. If we don't, yeah. So
I think
Atlanta
nest of distinction.
Nest of distinction. I like that. There you go. So Atlanta Falcons Nest of Distinction, formerly known as Ring of Honor. His Valdosta State number 88 is retired, and he's in the College Football Hall of Fame as well. There you go. Number 4 on our list, Mr. Jesse Tuggle. All right. Number 3 on our list tonight is none other than Mr. Jeff Van Note. Jeffrey Aloysius Van Note.
The Aloysius.
Mr. Aloysius.
Maybe our first Aloysius.
He is definitely the first Aloysius on this on our list, I think. We'll have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure he is. Center out of Kentucky, drafted in the 11th round with pick 262 overall in the 1969 draft. But he did manage to spend 18 seasons.
18 as a center.
18
That's crazy.
seasons as a center with the Atlanta Falcons.
Easy to be a center.
So easy.
There you go. Right.
Just have to be able to count to 3 and stick a ball between your legs.
Exactly.
While looking down.
Yeah.
Right.
And having some 380-pound guy want to shove your head between your shoulder blades.
Such an easy position to play.
Easy cake, man. I don't know why more people don't do it.
Exactly.
It's nuts. You have to be nuts to play center.
You do. Two-time second-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 6-time Pro Bowler over his career, over his 18-year career, 1969 through 1986. Think about that. He started playing football in the 60s and finished not too far away from the 90s.
Yeah.
As a center, Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway. And, of course, he's in the Atlanta Falcons nest of distinction as well. He played 246 games. He started 226 of them and recovered 4 fumbles in his career, too. So, there you go.
I think if you asked him what would be the best era for, like, partying, would it be like the tail end of the 60s into the 70s? Would it be the late 70s? Would it be that early 80s into the mid 80s?
Well, psychedelics were definitely better late 60s into early 70s. Cocaine, hookers, and,
Right, that's what I mean. It's like 3
70s into 80s, definitely.
Yeah.
And then, he never got in.
80s was kind of an extension.
Then again, he was 40 years
better
old.
Cocaine.
He was 40 years old when he was playing his last season.
Well, once he retired, he started heroin. But, before that, it was just typically Jack Daniels and Coke.
Right, there you go. This is parody, folks. We're kidding. So,
Yes.
anyway, but
he probably didn't party. That's probably why he
probably why he
was a
played center until he was 40
He was
years
a center
old.
who played 18 years. He was in bed by 9:30 every night.
For the last 10 years. For the last 10 years, he was literally in a bathtub of ice from the end of the game to the start of the next
game, right? Exactly. So they brought him in his food and his supplements, and he just got out, got dressed, and went out and played the next game. Anyway, all right. Number 3 on our list, Mr. Jeffrey Aloysius Van Note. There you go. All right. Number 2 on our list tonight is one of 2 players still playing in the NFL. This one, although, is not on the Falcons anymore, is Mr. Julio Jones. Number 2 on our list tonight is Mr. Quintorris Lopez Julio in quotes. Quintorris Lopez Jones Jr.
Tennessee Titan these days.
He is a Tennessee Titan. He is playing this weekend against the what's that team? The Bengals. And I did not pick his team to win.
I guess Jeff Van Note.
Here you go. Right. There you go. He was drafted as a wide receiver out of Alabama, drafted in the first round with the 6th pick overall in the 2011 draft by the Atlanta Falcons. He played 10 seasons for the Atlanta Falcons, and this is his first season with the Titans. First season not a Falcon. 2-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL receiving yards leader, NFL receptions co-leader in 2015, member of the 2010 All-Decade team. In college, he was a national champion in 2009, an SEC champion in 2009, freshman of the year in 2008, first-team All-SEC in 2010, second-team All-SEC in 2008. And high school, he won awards, too. It was an All-American, USA Today, high school All-American in 2007, and Alabama Mr. Football in 2007 as well. He has an NFL record, 95.5 average receiving yards per game. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Who has a better game? Jamar Chase or Julio Jones?
This week, Jamar Chase.
This week.
Jamar Chase.
But, will he
live up Tennessee's pretty good at shutting down the big receivers.
Julio Jones's career, I'll take him over the long term. But, yeah.
Over the long term, I would do that, absolutely.
But for this week, Chase.
Yeah. So
probably.
But for tonight, he's number 2 on our list.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, you're like number 6 on the rookie list.
Mr.
list.
Mr. Quintorris Lopez Jones Jr. Julio Jones, number 2 tonight. All right. That brings us to number 1. Number 1 on our list is none other than Mr. Matty Ice, Matt Ryan. Matthew Thomas Ryan, better known as Matty Ice. Quarterback out of Boston College. Drafted in the first round with the 3rd pick overall of the 2008 draft. Spent his entire career, is still spending his entire career on the Falcons. Just finished his, just finished his 14th year? 14th, yeah. Just finished his 14th year with the Falcons. NFL MVP in 2016. Offensive Player of the Year in 2016. Offensive Rookie of the Year in 08. First Team All-Pro in 2016. 5-time Pro Bowler. NFL Passer Rating Leader in 2016. NFL Completion Percentage Leader in 2012. All-Rookie Team in 08. Burt Bell Award in 2016. In college, he won the Manning Award in 07. Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award in 07. AAC Player of the Year in 07. Offensive Player of the Year in 07. First Team All-American in 07. First Team All-AAC in 07. And his Boston College Eagles jersey, number 12, is indeed retired. He has 8,003 passing attempts thus far in his 14-year career and 5,242 completions. Completion percentage 65.5. 367 touchdowns to only 170 interceptions. It's pretty damn good. And he's only 265 yards shy of throwing for 60,000 yards in his career. So, assuming he plays next year, I think he'll get that in probably, between at least the first 2 weeks, if not just in week 1. Passer rating, career passer rating number is 94.2. That's pretty damn good as well. And he has 12 rushing touchdowns as well. So there you go. Matty Ice, Matthew Thomas Ryan. Matt Ryan, number 1 on our list tonight. You guys have anything to say about Matty Ice?
Yeah, he lost that Super Bowl, though.
He did.
Well, he didn't.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't lose it. His team did.
But I mean, the defense couldn't stop. I forget who it was, and
some
the
team
offense
from the Northeast
couldn't put the ball in the end zone. So.
Right. Exactly. Gotcha. So anyway, all right.
Do you think he's a future Hall of Famer?
I do.
I think so.
I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I think he's going to Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will.
Yeah, he throw for 60,000 and
he throws for 60,000
that's
yards.
That's a damn good touchdown to interception ratio. I don't know what the number is, but 300 something to what was it, 150 something?
300 and what was it?
Yeah.
300 and
I agree.
367 to 170.
One of the interesting things about this franchise is that obviously Tony Gonzalez will be in Dion, Hall of Famers, no doubt. But I consider them both their prime of their career to be with other teams. Yeah, Dion a little different, but they'll probably be inducted with other teams. This team is very light on people who have made it into the NFL Hall of Fame, with Claude Humphrey really being the only long-term Atlanta Falcon who's actually in the Football Hall of Fame. It's
very true.
They may have some of the the lowest representation in the hall, and I think obviously somebody like Julio Jones, I would imagine he would probably go in as a Falcon. Matt Ryan will be in there.
Well, that's shortly
as well.
The one thing about the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton that's different from
you don't have to pick a team.
You don't pick a team. You're in for all the teams you played for.
Right.
So.
But I mean, there's a lot of people on the list of Atlanta Falcons who were never really even with them or with them for 1 year. You know.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
And
that's one thing I noticed looking over some of these lists is there were guys who and you could technically put Dion in that category, and obviously Gonzalez with the Falcons, their time with the Falcons, they had a really good 3 or 4 or 5 year stretch, and I went, oh my god, yeah, that guy was so good, and then they went somewhere else, or they didn't play, or got hurt and retired or whatever. So they were on track. Decade. Yeah, they were on track to have great careers for 4 years or maybe half a decade, and some of that spent with Atlanta, but that doesn't get you in. And but there were a whole bunch of guys that went, oh man, this guy, if it wasn't for the short term, he was top 10. This guy's top 10 too. But
even Jesse Tuggle's got to be on the border. I mean, if somebody like Van Note or Mike Ken or some of these guys aren't
Brooking, these guys that
guys
that played for years and years.
Even Steve Bartkowski. I mean, he was only a Pro Bowler twice, and he didn't necessarily. There's other. It's hard to rise to the top as a quarterback, especially in that era. But there's not that many Hall of Famers from this team.
Yeah,
and what you were saying, Pete, I think is a testament to the state of the NFL and, the state of basically a team like the Falcons that some of those years, needed to maybe not go into rebuild mode, but okay, do we want to sink a ton of money into re-signing this decent player, or do we want to go out and get like 3 other pieces that we can afford? So,
and some of these guys were having great seasons on, pretty lean years for the team.
Sure.
But they'd have, kind of 1 or 2 guys who sort of had a standout. And they're just sort of, I don't know, Atlanta is just kind of they're kind of like the Hawks, They're sort of an also-ran, they put quality teams out there, get there once in a blue moon, but just never any real.
They don't have their Dominique Wilkins, though. They don't have.
Yeah, but there's no sustained, really high level of success. There's medium high levels of success, and obviously low points, but they just never seem to have that. I mean, with Ryan, some of those years was probably right. The latest period of time where they were really playing at a high level, but even then, it wasn't like how many Super Bowls did they go to during that time? One.
Falcons
So
been to 2. They've been to 2.
Right.
So
just I don't know. Never quite had enough to stay good for a number of years and give themselves a chance to get back to the big dance and maybe win it.
All right. Well, that brings us to this week's Old Balls.
Old balls.
Harry, tell us who this week's Old Balls recipient is.
Well, this week's recipient of the coveted Old Balls Award I think ties right into what Pete was talking about.
Okay.
It's none other than Mr. Warwick Dunn, who split his time between the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL, was a national champion with Florida State. In college, his numbers retired by Florida State, along with Mr. Deion Sanders, who's also on this list. But Dunn was just one of those guys who it seemed like his impact on the game, especially as kind of a smaller scat back, kind of a dual threat, both rushing and receiving. It just seemed like he had a pretty big impact on the game. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler, 1 time with the Falcons. He was NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year in 1997 and is in the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor. The Nest of Distinction.
Very good.
Yes. And look, he had over 10,000 yards, almost 11,000 yards, averaged over 4 yards a carry, and had just under 50 touchdowns. And look, with the Atlanta Falcons, he still, I think, holds, 11 or 12 of the Atlanta Falcons records. Rushing yards in the playoffs, rushing yards in attempts for the playoffs, rushing TDs in the playoffs. He benefited from actually playing in Atlanta Falcons playoff games, and also holds some records still with the Buccaneers. He was one of those guys who was kind of a, I don't know. I think I think in the years following his career, there were a lot of guys who fit into this category of sort of a smaller running back who was not only a good runner, but also could catch the ball. And his first 10 seasons in the league, he finished with over 1,000 combined rushing and receiving yards, which is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's somebody who's producing yardage year after year after year.
Sure.
And I don't know. I just when I was thinking of guys who I just remember being in an Atlanta Falcons uniform, Warwick Dunn was who came to mind, and I think he had a pretty impressive career. Considering he was back and forth, he actually ended his career with the Bucks after starting his career with the Bucks. But
sure.
Great player, and probably top 20, maybe Atlanta Falcons of all time. Maybe even higher. There's not that many guys in the Atlanta Falcons nest of distinction. He's one of them. So there you go. Warwick Dunn.
Very good. All right, there you go. Warwick Dunn, tonight's Old Balls.
Old balls.
All right. Well, there you go. Should we chat about some NBA or?
Oof. Sure. What do you guys have to say?
Anything different than last week?
Not so much.
Not
it's
really,
pretty much
right?
the same, yeah.
Utah's in a little bit of a slide. I think Phoenix is sort of distinguishing themselves as even Golden State's had a little bit of a slide with recently. I think they're having a little bit of a time adjusting to Klay Thompson's return. Mm-hmm. But Joel Embiid continues to make a strong case for MVP honors, and that guy Giannis, just year after year after year after year, continues to be just an absolute force to be reckoned with. But I don't know.
Bucks are struggling, though. I mean, they're
struggling, and yet they're still there. They're still
they're only 2 games out of first, but they're I think
they're 28-19. They're having
4-6 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, they also went through a stretch where they were missing, like a lot of teams, where they're missing half their team.
Yeah,
So I mean, look, the Nets are ahead of them by a game and a half. They're tied in the win column. I think the 2 teams that made the biggest offseason moves in the East are the 2 teams atop the East right now, tied virtually.
Yeah.
Miami's got 29 wins all of a sudden.
Yeah, and we've been talking about them.
Yep.
I mean, they went to the finals a couple of years ago, right? And
yeah,
sure.
I mean, I think if you got to look at the teams that are just, Miami probably expected for them to be better, but they've certainly performed real well. But Charlotte and Cleveland's 27-19. Charlotte's 25-20. Both those teams are ahead of Washington, Boston, Toronto, the Knicks, the Hawks, and the Pacers. I mean, it's been an interesting year, and I just think Phoenix is the most consistent team. We talked about were the Warriors, and now all of a sudden Phoenix still only has 9 losses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Dallas is starting to creep up a little bit.
Yeah, Dallas has had a good couple of weeks.
Good run. They're 9-1 in their last 10.
And the Grizzlies too.
Memphis. That's the other team. I mean, Memphis has won 31 games.
Yep.
And
the Lakers are 500.
Lakers are 500. Clippers are just under 500. Who would have thought the Clippers and the Lakers would have the same record as the Minnesota Timberwolves at this point?
Yeah.
But
exactly right.
I think the first round of the playoffs this year in the West, especially, could be really interesting, and you could have some pretty big. You could have some teams that you haven't had in years past have first, home court advantage in the first round, like a Memphis. I mean, right now Memphis is ahead of Utah. I never thought I'd be saying
half
that.
A game, but
still, it's like, when was the last time you saw Utah in 4th place in the West?
Right.
It's been interesting, but
and listen, I mean, we're rough. We're just about the halfway point, right? So
just past.
I mean, we have the same playoff format as last year again with the play. I mean, you could see the Lakers in that
get bounced
play-in situation for the second year in a row, which would be insane. I mean, because they're running out of time.
Yep.
The rest, they're. I mean, it's virtually impossible without major injuries or crashes of not just 1 or 2 other teams. There's 4 or 5 other teams. I would say at least 4 in the West that all kind of have to take a nosedive while the Lakers go on a tear,
right?
In order for them to get back
to get out of that play-in round,
right? It's not like, we just got to put it together for the next 10 games and we're right back in, the regular playoff spot.
Right?
No.
You're 12 and a half games out halfway through the season. You're probably going to be in that play-in situation.
Let me ask you guys a little bit about the Nets, who continue to be an interesting watch. I think just because now with Durant out, looks like going to be out for a while. Hey, look, Kyrie Irving, him and Patty Mills won this game tonight for them by 1 point, on the road against Washington. James Harden, -8 tonight, only 18 points, 7-21 shooting, 0 for 5 from 3-point range. Is LaMarcus Aldridge coming in off the bench, 27 points. So you're looking at a team that really won it. You're looking at LaMarcus Aldridge, 27 points in 32 minutes. Kyrie, 30 points. and Patty Mills with 17. Harden obviously contributed, but is this a formula that's going to be able to keep the Nets within striking range? And then the question, I think they were bringing this up on some of the talk shows this week, do the Nets not want to have home court advantage in the first round?
Right.
I think I brought that up a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah.
They might not. I mean, well,
I just think it does. I mean, look, they were a one big toe away from, going to the finals. Yes, it is a good song. So obviously they can turn it on when they need to. And I think with a healthy Kevin Durant and anybody around him, they have a chance of winning a championship.
Yeah.
But does this not just prove the point that, when is Kyrie just going to reconsider and say, look, maybe I need to, it's been a year and a half. No one's died from the vaccine. So maybe I should give it a shot and be able to play in some home games. I think
the answer to that question is probably never.
No, but they're going to be I don't think this, without Durant in there, I don't think they can lean on Harden like they have in years past. And I think they're a very average team without Kyrie in this lineup. If Durant is not playing, I think with Durant, they can, that obviously makes up for a lot of sins. Obviously, they're better with Kyrie, Durant, and Harden all in there at the same time. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see that for could be 3 or 4 weeks, if at the best bet. I think Durant's going to be out for a while.
He's going to be out for a while. He'll be out for a while.
I think the less time that the general public or at least the sports punditry spends talking about the Brooklyn Nets being the best team in the East is probably better for the Brooklyn Nets. I think they probably just don't want to be the subject of conversation.
Right.
Because it's not really a topic of, hey, look how good they're playing. It's really usually comes down to Kyrie's vaccination status and James Harden. And, to me, the James Harden piece of the puzzle is more interesting to me. Right. It just seems like his ability to get off shots has diminished significantly this year.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he does slump, but my point is they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. If they go out and win, they're the best team in the East. And if they go out and they lose a game, it's like, well, what's wrong with them?
Well, they should be the best team in the East.
They should. But my point is, I think they, at this point, talk about the Bulls and what they're doing. Talk about Miami. Nope. Talk about Philly, right? Philly's
talk
coming
about Memphis.
On. Philly's been coming on for a week and a half, 2 weeks now, right? Talk about Embiid. Just leave us alone. We'll win games. I don't know if they care if they're the best, if they're the number one seed.
No, they're
just
a veteran team. Yeah.
Make sure everybody's healthy, and then then we'll try and turn it on. And Kyrie, I don't think he's ever going to take the vaccine. So, listen, if you don't have the home field or home court,
you get him.
Then he gets to play. You get him for an extra game. So if that, it's more reasonable to think he's not going to change his mind than to think that he is. So maybe you kind of, you don't throw games, obviously, but talk about everybody else. We'll just play. And then when Durant comes back, then we'll get press again for a few games. I think they have a potential to be better in anonymity.
Yeah,
or relative anonymity.
And I think this Miami Heat team is a good matchup for Brooklyn. I think they're a defensive-minded team who also has some guys who can score very efficiently.
Yep.
And Miami and Chicago.
Yeah.
I think both those teams could give Brooklyn a run for their money. They're going to give them some problems, especially because they're going to struggle. These teams can D up on them and play way better defense than Brooklyn can, even at their best.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. Well, what about the Knicks?
I think the Knicks,
along.
They're just going to be, if they're going to just stay around 500 on games where RJ Barrett or Evan Fournier have a good game against the mediocre or decent or subpar team, they should win.
Right.
I just don't think they're good enough to beat the top teams in the league. I think they've taken a little bit of a step back only because I think the rest of the league has gotten better.
Right.
And the Eastern Conference has certainly gotten a lot better.
Yeah, that's kind of the question I wanted to ask you is, have they gotten any better this season from the beginning of the season to now the halfway point? Are they doing anything better, or it's just on certain nights, certain players have good nights and they win? Which,
I think
it's true of a lot of teams, but
right.
I don't know. Are they doing anything differently? Are they doing anything better? Are they just kind of plodding along and hoping that somebody has a good night?
They're not playing as good a defense, and Julius Randle has come back down to being a very good player who is playing, I think, at the level that we always thought he would play. I think he had an excellent year last year. He's still averaging just under 20 points a game. He's leading the team in assists per game, which is a little bit of a problem. But
he's better than last year, but I mean, better, not as good as last year, but better than he was up to last year, right?
About as good. I think he's
about as good. Okay.
I think what makes him better is that he's the first option on a team that where he wasn't prior to that. Mm-hmm. And I still think that his best basketball could come where he's a second and or 2A, 2B option. Mm-hmm. I don't think the acquisition. Look, Fournier's been playing decent ball lately. The last couple of games, he's had some really good games. But they've lost to the Timberwolves. They've lost to the Hornets. That was a
terrible loss to the Hornets.
Yeah, and the Knicks starting the Kemba Walker. Kemba's doing okay, but.
He had 19 the other night, right?
He had 19 the other night.
Yeah.
But what I really look at is he had 4 assists. Julius Randle had 9 rebounds and 9 assists. Kemba Walker, they're just not getting and the out of all of the starters on that team, the Knicks still are missing that defensive tenacity that they had last year. They're a good team. I think they're going to probably wind up being right around 500. Mm-hmm. I hope they can go on a little bit of spurt, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. I didn't get to ask you last week because you had to sign off or whatever before we got to basketball. What do you think of the Knicks getting rid of Kevin Knox?
Well, I think it was a good move. I think what they got was, You
like Cam Reddish or?
Yeah, I think he's a much better. What the hell is that?
What's what?
I think he's a much. Something was coming through my headphones.
I think something's going on in my house.
I think that.
I didn't hear it.
I think that Cam Reddish is. I think getting rid of Kevin Knox for Cam Reddish. I know there was. I think there wasn't there a pick involved there too? Or was it
a protected first round pick, and Kevin Knox went to. Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Reddish has he played for the Knicks yet? I don't think he has. I don't think
he's gotten in any games yet.
Yeah, I think he'll add some shooting that they need, and I think the Kevin Knox experiment with the Knicks, he just wasn't fitting in. He wasn't getting any playing time.
Yeah.
Well, he was the guy. I think I said he was the guy last year that he was terrible, but they kept putting him in.
Yeah.
Right. So it was just.
Yeah,
they got anything was better, right?
And Reddish is a better scorer. He's going to have to learn how to play a little bit more defense. The thought process there is that he's had a he played in college with RJ Barrett. I think he's another wing that'll give the Knicks be able to allow the Knicks to spread the floor a little bit more and maybe get up and down the court a little better.
Yeah.
If he can come in with the second unit and provide a little bit of a punch so they don't fall off as much shooting wise. Mm-hmm. And then I think it gives them some options, even in a starting lineup, if they want to go smaller and, move Fournier, into the center spot or they can move these guys around a little bit.
Sure.
So they have I think it's a modest help.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the biggest problem is the D, right? Obviously, compared to last year anyway.
Yeah.
So, but
do they make a big move at some point?
I don't think they can.
I don't think so.
I don't think they can.
They don't have enough to give away?
I don't think.
What are they going to give? Yeah. What are they going to give?
I think that who's going to be a free agent in the offseason? I mean, who's going to really be able to fit into what the Knicks have built here? Is there a big name free agent?
What if they're hovering at 11 or 12 and 10 teams, right? Head to the playoffs with the play-in.
I think you could see some. Look, the good thing for the Knicks is that Evan Fournier and RJ Barrett they're playing their best ball right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Barrett's been on fire lately.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if there's a big name out there, that's who somebody's going to want. They're going to want an RJ Barrett. They're going to want an Evan Fournier. Those are, I don't think the Knicks are going to move Randall, but those are the players that they're going to want. Right. Other than that, I don't.
Unless you're getting somebody like Dame, it doesn't make sense to move these guys.
No.
So.
No, and I don't. And Dame's not. I don't think he's going to be part of the. Well, I just don't think he's going to be part of the discussion right now because he's out. He's he underwent surgery. Mm-hmm. So I there's not a lot of guys I think that are big name players who want to be moved or are looking to be moved right now. Even the Bradley Beals of the world. Mm-hmm. Washington's not playing all that bad, so he's having a pretty good year. So I don't know. I don't know who. What name is really being talked about at a trade deadline?
I haven't heard anything. So
there's not much.
No.
There's not much.
When is the trade deadline anyway?
Next month.
Yeah.
Right? Sometime in February.
I don't know.
Is it? Right? Yeah. Sometime in February.
February 10th. February 10th.
Yeah, early February. Yeah, 10th. Yeah. There you go. So what? 3 days before the Super Bowl. Trade deadline.
I mean, I think the one thing you'll finally maybe see happen.
I think it's NFL Honors Night too.
Is you might see Ben Simmons actually go somewhere.
There you go.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right. One final thing about the NBA.
Go for it.
Also about the WNBA. They have a new head coach in Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Aces of the WNBA.
Yep.
Her name is Becky Hammon.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
She's a former WNBA superstar on court.
Absolutely.
My question to you, though, what job is she leaving to go be the head coach in Las Vegas?
She's with the Spurs.
That's right.
She was with the Spurs. Yeah.
She's an assistant coach with the Spurs. First full-time female assistant coach, I should say.
Mm-hmm. She's the first female to ever be a head coach. Didn't she serve as a acting head coach for a game under Pop?
I don't know. That doesn't.
I believe she did. Yeah.
That doesn't really count. But
well, it does.
She wasn't hired as the head coach.
Well, that's true.
That's like the president's sick today. The president's sick today, so the vice president's gonna
Right. He served as the president for a day.
Yeah. So,
right.
But either way, good for her. And
excuse me. She served as the president for a day.
She served as the president coach for a
day.
And boy, nice to be working under Popovich for 8 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you can expect the Las Vegas Aces to
wipe up the floor with everybody they play.
Wipe up? Well, no, because they don't know he's coming first. They don't really care about first, right? Popovich's one of those guys. Let's just get to the playoffs, right?
And then we'll do our damage there.
She'll be very good at load management.
All right, there you go.
Everybody's going to be healthy and rested heading into the playoffs.
There you go.
And she was a great player, too. So congratulations to her.
Congratulations, Becky.
I did not know that she was with the Spurs until today when I read that.
Oh, yeah.
So good for her. And good luck in Las Vegas. Got to be tough to – well, I mean, they have the air conditioned out there, but – Vegas is. I know a couple of people who live in Vegas, and they were transplants. You first get out there, and the air and the dry, the humidity and all that stuff.
It's dry though.
Or the lack of it, or whatever.
It's a lack of humidity. It's just
right,
dry, so like you're in an oven. That's all.
It's the dry heat. It screws with you for a while. You have to get used to it. So, but they, obviously don't play indoors or outdoors rather.
Yep. So,
I think you might. I mean,
it would be interesting play basketball outdoors in Las Vegas.
I think you will see one of these ladies make it to sooner than later to a head coaching position with or more front office position. Look, Sue Bird, while she was still playing, I think had a front office position with the Denver Nuggets. So I think these you're going to see more and more. They certainly understand the game. There's the difference in analyzing talent and understanding the X's and O's is Maybe.
Well, listen, some would argue the WNBA does a better job on the court with X's and O's than
It's a much
the
more
NBA does.
It's a much more pleasing game to watch. It's much more fundamental.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
If you're an old school basketball fan, I mean,
if you like passing and
it's the only place you get to see Bill Lambier.
There you go.
I don't think he's coaching anymore. But
on that note of outside, what do you think about the NBA doing like the NHL does? They do the Winter Classic or whatever.
I think it's going to be hard.
Winter Classic outdoors.
I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard to play on ice, but.
Well, they'd be like, an outdoor classic at Golden State. Come on, that's cheating.
No. You got to do it you got to do
it's got to be like Oklahoma or Oklahoma City or someplace.
Or Minnesota. Do it in Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minneapolis.
Well, Becky Hammond is actually replacing Bill Lambier as the head coach.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
So that's a difference in styles, most likely.
And speaking of hockey,
yeah, good. Exactly.
Smooth segue.
Nice.
Segue.
Yeah, very good, John.
Smooth segue. Yeah. There you go. No, it just Rangers are no longer in first place in the East.
What?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they're 25 and 10, and the Hurricanes are now 26 and 8. So same points. They both have 54 points. But in any event, their winning percentage is a little bit different.
The Rangers didn't win today. Don't they have 56 points now?
Yeah, I think they won.
Yeah.
They're 26 and 10 now.
Yeah, so the Rangers are up. They're up by 2 points.
All right, hold on. Refreshing. I just refreshed 5 minutes ago, so it didn't take it.
Yeah.
Hold
but
on.
it's close.
They won. They beat Toronto.
The Capitals are right on their heels, too.
There you go. Yep.
Well, the thing about the Rangers and Washington is they have 4 more games in hand than Carolina.
They do have 4 more games in hand.
So Carolina's
36
got
games.
4 games to get, 2
points.
In theory, to get 2 points to tie the Rangers. So most likely by the time they get to 40 games, they could very well be in first.
Sure. Exactly. So
yeah.
Other than that,
Tampa Bay keeps cruising along. How about those Avalanche? 8-1-1 in their last 10, a 3-game winning streak, and plus 41 differential, which I believe is the highest in the league. No, Florida is plus 43.
The Islanders are now playing better hockey than the Kraken. Finally,
yeah, they're in 8th place in their division.
They're in 8th place out of 8 teams.
Yeah,
there's a couple teams that have 3 losses, but Colorado has the only 2 losses at home.
2 losses at home,
which is best in the league.
Yeah, 16-2-1. That's and they're pretty good on the road as well.
Yeah,
the Avalanche are playing good hockey. St. Louis looks pretty good. I don't know. I think by the end of it all, though, those Vegas, what are they? The Flying Elvises?
Elvises, yeah, or Golden Knights.
Well, the Flying Elvis impersonator.
There you go.
They're pretty damn good.
Yeah, they are.
Well, listen, not that I follow hockey, but Los Angeles. When was the last time they were good? They're in second.
Kings.
Well,
when was the last time they were? It's been a while, right?
I think when they beat the Rangers in 2012, was it 2011, 2012?
Yeah, like 10 years, almost 10 years.
Remember the glory days of the Kings from way, way back.
Sure.
But
yeah, even though to me they're a brand new team. Mr. Gretzky certainly gave them a little bit of notoriety.
Yeah,
a little bit.
So. But I mean, again, not that I follow hockey all that closely, but to me, they haven't been particularly.
Well, all the California teams are within a game of each other.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And 1 point of each other. Yeah, they're 6th, 7th, and 8th in the standings.
Gotta love it. There you go. All right. Well, there you go. I think we have an over/under to do.
Huh? We do have an over/under.
Ooh.
All right, so
gotta go. I think in the next week or 2 we're gonna have a sounder for the over/under. So
I gotta get to work on that. So, in keeping with the success of last week's over/under, or the format, I should say, I went with the package over/under once again.
All right.
The variety pack.
The variety pack over/under.
In this case,
has that package here? Where did that come from? Is that from Kmart or was that from Amazon?
It's from Jockey via Amazon.
Josh.
Yeah.
As you can see, it is a sealed package. I have not opened it.
Okay.
And much like the 12-volt batteries, which turned out to be 9-volt batteries, and I tricked you into thinking there were 12 of them. I'm not going to do that this week because I don't know how to make the numbers work. But inside this package, despite the name, Jockey, and the logo, which is obviously a human being of small stature, Jockey does make clothing for big fat people like me, too. So in this package is my new underwear.
All right.
Boxers or briefs? Or boxer briefs?
Boxer briefs, of course.
Boxer briefs.
Okay.
I am a modern man.
There you go.
And my thighs are too fat.
Oh,
briefs.
Too
And my junk is too large for boxers.
much information.
You would know that if you were on my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I noticed you haven't been on in quite some time.
It's been a while. It's been a second.
My retina's burnt out.
I know. Sometimes it's like the iodine takes a while to.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my underwear is in here.
Okay.
And much like last week, I'm setting the over-under at 10.5.
10.5.
10.5.
How many pairs of underwear? I use my head as a size reference.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going over.
Going over 10.5.
I'm going under.
John's going under. All right.
I think there's a dozen in there.
The old 12-volt
I
underwear.
think there's
12
three
volt
packs.
underwear. Scissors. Get the scissors.
I think you got to hardwire this underwear.
Excuse me. Watch your arm. There you go. All right.
There you go.
All right.
Pete's
Oh,
underwear.
it's all in one pack.
Oh, wow.
All right. I got to open this up, too.
There you go.
Do you not know the answer?
No, I do, but I can't.
He wants to show each of them.
I
Count
can't-
1,
no,
2, 3.
No, I won't go that far, but I can't really demonstrate how many there are without opening this
Yeah.
inner packaging.
And then there's another inner pack.
Why are there pork chops in there as well?
Well,
it's a treat that you get with the.
I said they make
I
clothes.
bet. I think there's 4 3-packs in there.
You don't get people like me to order from Jockey without throwing in a little something. All right, so we have
3-pack.
3 packs here.
Yeah, there's 12.
3,
Mm-hmm.
6,
Mm-hmm.
9, 12.
Yeah.
Harry wins.
Harry wins. Yay. All right.
And yeah,
I thought maybe you would get a baker's dozen.
I think normally I get 9, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't like to do laundry, so.
Well, the pork chop is the 13th thing you got.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So there we go.
Yeah.
And I think they're all
Alright.
black. Yeah, they're all black.
All right. Does that conclude this program?
By the
think
way,
it
this
does.
this picture of me is
Yeah, you look really good there.
That was
Yeah,
from last
that was
week.
from-
That was from last week.
no, it's from about I don't
It was
know,
right
three-
before
3 years
Thanksgiving.
ago.
It was right before Thanksgiving.
Right before the bakery moved in downstairs to the
I
apartment
gotcha.
I was living in,
I gotcha.
and then it all
Was
went
that
down.
before or after this picture of you?
That was this was 2 weeks after that picture.
2 weeks after.
I
that
mean,
picture.
2 weeks before that picture.
I gotcha. All right, cool.
Yeah, I ate a lot of cake. and
You both
fattened
look
up.
in that picture. You both look like you should be on the FBI watch list.
I think we were.
Probably.
John, you look like you just wired something up.
You got to remember, we're both drunk and it's 4:00 in the morning at the radio
Well,
station. So.
I
Yeah,
understand
John, you
that.
could have been a member. You could have been one of the
Yeah, you were a Taliban.
Hans Gruber's crew in the first Die Hard. Put that back up again.
Yeah, seriously.
You look like you
I
look like the
suppose.
guy who was walking with the gun and then
Look, yeah,
he got shot from behind. But you
Look
were
at the
part of-
look at the polo shirt too, with the
Oh, yeah.
the Ginzaloon chain underneath, and
Yeah.
you guys kind of coordinated your.
Well, look at it. Pete's not trying to be cool. He's just really tired.
yeah, he's
I
wasted.
might have had a mouthful of food.
That's that too. Yeah.
I might have just taken a bite of pizza. I'm like the
I bet you wish you had some fresh jockeys.
There you
maybe I'm like one of the Guido crew, like the guy that doesn't really do anything. I get killed early in the movie too. You know, hey Sal,
Exactly.
go out and get the paper.
Right.
That's me.
That's you. There you go.
I get blown up going to get
Your
the
first
paper.
5 minutes of the movie, and then you
That was meant for the Don.
There you go.
Yeah.
Poor Sal. Well, at least now we get some more meatballs that he's not around.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So, all right. Well, on that note, we will wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And it has Stay Cool technology. Look at that. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast and the Jockey Underwear, too. So,
and for Pete, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yeah.
It's cool and durable.
It's cool and durable Radio Pete on OnlyFans.
Much like the man that's going to wear them.
Right, exactly.
It's Sweet Cheeks McGuire, right? Isn't that what your name is on OnlyFans?
That's one of them.
He's got a few. It's different rooms,
Yeah.
Anyway, which we got, of course, all of our shows are on YouTube as well on the Locker Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around usually 6:30. We had another scheduling conflict tonight, but we'll be back around 7:30-ish next Eastern time next Wednesday. For those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Watch all of the divisional playoff games this weekend as well. And, of course, any NBA and NHL action you want to check out. And we will talk to you later, folks. Enjoy. Cheers. Oh, one last thing before we go. I do want to wish my daughter, Marina, a very happy 28th birthday today.
Happy birthday, Marina.
Happy birthday, Marina.
Yeah, you remember. So,
all right. Here's the best part.
Go for it.
I don't know if you can see that. The keyhole fly.
Keyhole
Do you
fly.
keep your keys
Keep
near
your
your
keys
balls?
Keep your key. No, you just keep your keys in there.
I don't know.
It's a key pocket.
Again,
I was thinking
For when you're, when you're running out and you're just.
I was thinking when I try and unlock my front door with my penis,
He's
keyhole
got.
fly will probably.
I
come
just
in
said happy
there.
birthday to my daughter, and you're talking about unlocking
Yeah,
the door.
he's got.
He's not watching.
He's got ventilated thighs and a keyhole.
Oh my gosh! All right. Anyway, on that note,
Sweet Cheeks McGee at OnlyFans.
Sweet Chicks McGee or Sweet Chicks McGuire? I thought it was.
Either one, both actually.
Both. It's both.
Yeah, I like McGuire.
All right, I'll go with McGuire.
Go McGuire.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's right.
All right.
All right, folks. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.
All right.
Good night.